like, you youngsters, you don't know. We almost had an amazing version of Robocraft. You should have been there. It was awesome. There was physics. There were flippers. There were chompers. It was glorious. Before we lose access to these bots forever, I wanted to go over some of these bots because I have a ridiculous amount of bots. I pretty much always kept my slots full, which I think was 256, and I tried to delete the ones that I wasn't using, and then whenever I was trying a new one, rotate that one in. So we ended up with a pretty nice list of awesome bots. I wanted to go over some of those just so I can shout out some of the builders in the Robocraft community, because there's a lot of really awesome builders in the Robocraft 2 community. So first we just got the starter bots here. I'm not really going to go over these except for the Kiwi, because this is actually made by Bamboozled Kiwi, and it was remade, I guess, as a starter bot. It's a popular one. Very nice look to it. I especially love these plate wedges on the back there. Sorry, I'm trying to get a view. The plate wedges on the back are super cool. Default color scheme that actually looks nice. Very nice. One of the favorites for new players too, I think. All right, and next is actually my first bot, which was just the Kiwi but improved. Believe it or not, there is a Kiwi underneath this, and I just added armor to it, removed cosmetic things and added armor. It served me well during my early days as a Robocrafter. It was fun for a first bot. Next, we have my actual first bot. Looks like a Swiss Army tank. This is a fun little rail bot that I made, and I was experimenting with, there's a bunch of layered plates underneath this. It was pretty fun. Nice little box tank. The turret was not too strong, but that was sort of intentional because I was playing rail and I wanted to be really snappy. This was my first attempt at a potato. It looks not bad. The turret is terrible though, because the angle of firing is like really limited by the shroud. Also, I kind of experimented with the rotating thruster here. Pretty fun. Attempting to make a flyer. I'm not the best pilot, so it didn't really serve me that well. A much better flyer would be the Machina from Dash the Flash. So Dash, if anybody wasn't familiar, Dash the Flash was sort of the nightmare of ground bots. He was a very good potato player, and he made his own potatoes. Although I think it's a rebuild of, I want to say Leo Gradance. I think they made the first version of this and then he rebuilt it. But the interesting thing about this one is that it tumbles wildly, and it has a very unique motion when you hold down space to give you more lift. It raises the nose up, which increases your angle of firing. Okay, so next, let's see, I'll go over this one. This is just my second tank that I made, really. This one I did not use for very long. Kind of had some problems with the wheel guards. The wheels would like bump into the wheel guards, and before the wheel changes, it would actually do wheelies, like without any, as you just saw, it also has some issues with turret jank. Yes. And then we have this bot, another one of mine. And this one I just made out of almost pure Ladium, because after they changed wheels, they gave wheels a buff so they could carry more stuff, basically. That ended up making heavy bots a lot stronger because you could actually like go almost pure Ladium and it wouldn't really hurt you that much because you could still move. So this is a bot that I made to take advantage of that change. It was quite a lot of fun. Next we have another bot of mine. It's the Dopefish. If you know, then you know. So next we have the Signator. So this version was made by me, but I will give the full story of this, and this is probably the bot I'm going to have to explain the most about because it has a pretty interesting backstory. During the heavy meta, this was a very popular bot. The original author is Signu. And Signu, he was never really active in the Robocraft 2 community that I'm aware of, but people really enjoyed his bot. But it wasn't on CRF, so there wasn't any way for us to play it. That's where Dash came in. So Dash, he looked at a bunch of footage of the bot, and he rebuilt it. And then he put that on CRF. And once he did that, you know, I also was a huge fan of that bot, and I wanted to rebuild it myself. And I liked Dash's version, but I wanted to make some changes, and I wanted to make a railgun version. So I looked at Dash's version, and I rebuilt it based off of that. So this is like a copy of a copy. But it still was probably one of my best performing bots. Even though it's not my design, I know. One of the most fun things to do was use the turret as a melee weapon. And then next, we have the railgun version. As I was saying, I did make a railgun version. This was the first version I made. Not the best, you can see there's some gaps here and things like that. But it has a railgun in it. Now we have the Hungry Hungry Hippo. From Hiderim Josh. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. I remember when he made this, I had a lot of fun with this. I saw when he was talking about it in Discord, and I was like, oh, I am buying that immediately. As soon as you put that on CRF, I want it. So it's a Hungry Hungry Hippo. You can see you can extend the head. You can chomp. And it's even got the handle in the back. And of course, it has arcs. And just look at that face. How could you not love this bot? So next, we have the Little Devil from Ketmall, who a lot of you may know from his YouTube. This is one of my favorite drones for potatoes. Okay, so you can see those little red sensors there at the bottom, those little sticks pointing out of the bottom. Those are actually sensors. So if you press control, it activates the hover mode, as you're seeing here. If I deactivate it with control, I drop again, activate it again, and I hover. So I can take my hands off of the keyboard, not touching anything right now, and I'm just floating. Very cool. And this means, you know, of course, you can just fly around like this. And then if you press spacebar, which gives you lift, you can also fly. Very fun bot. Wish I had the chance to do a full review of it. I was planning on getting to all the drones and we just never really got there. But the Machina, the Little Devil, and the Compensator were top of my list for potatoes. Next, we have the HTA from Vattenfott. So this bot was also from the heavy meta. It was one of my favorites from the heavy meta. This and the Signu tank were probably my favorites. You can see the strength of this is the turret mainly. Like, it's just made to be ridiculously tanky. So taking this thing out is like a challenge. At the time, you know, the meta was really heavy bot centric. You know, most games, both teams would just capture their near point, and then they would all rush straight to middle. There would be a massive fight on middle, and whoever won that fight on middle, it was your job to defend middle for the rest of the game. So if you had heavy tanks like this, it was actually really powerful, because it was like, once you get on middle and in the position you want to be with this kind of tank, it's really hard to kill you. Our first Bobbish pincer, the first of many. So Bobbish, who is often in the stream chat here, makes a lot of awesome pincers. Oh, and I apologize, my color scheme is a little bit messed up. This is not the default color scheme. Usually it looks a lot better with this for the colors. But yes, this is the first of the HDV series. I believe he has a bunch of these. And as you're about to see, it's a pincer. Oh yeah. And yes, it is possible to break your own arms. There is a little bit of a skill involved with how you pincer people. And then also, as we get further and further down the line of Bobbish pincers, we'll see that there are more innovations with the control scheme. Ah, here he is, yes. The version 1, yes. I probably have almost all of your pincers. Great bots. Okay, so next we have the compensator. There's a plasma and a laser version. This is from Lellers. And this is another of the top 3 of my favorite potatoes. So they all sort of have their own unique, like, controls and way that they fly. You know, the Little Devil has the automatic hover. The Machina, it has a very, like, steep, like, the pitch changes, so the nose rises when you ascend. And it has, like, these weird tumbling sort of motions to it, so it makes it kind of hard to predict where it's going to fly. This one has a gradual fall off. So as you add more thrust to your lift, you know, it sort of increases a constant, which will be gradually reduced as you let go. So rather than you just falling straight to the earth as soon as you let go of space, gradually fall down. Which makes it a lot easier to fly. Because you can feather a lot easier. You don't have to be like tapping the key a bunch of times, you know, it's a very gentle motion. Okay, so next, Chomp from Silent Seeker. This is a fun little arty bot. Arty bot that can still do good. It's a chomper, but it's, what do we call them? Uber chompers. Because it also has an arc. Yeah. Had a lot of fun with this. It's a very silly bot. I enjoyed this quite a lot. Okay, what else we got here? Ah, Hrungnir from Dima. So this is a pretty awesome walker. There's a bunch of different types of walkers. This is a piston shuffler, I guess. But not only that, it's also a melee bot because it has this hammer on top, which you can control like this. And the way this works is it crushes your bot in between the hammer and the ground. You're kind of stuck between a unstoppable force and an immovable object, and physics happens. And also, you can turn it. It's not very fast because it's so heavy, because this bot is like pure Ladium. But you can, and it aims to where your mouse does. Very cool. Ah, the catfish tank from Filthy Shrooms. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. It's a catfish tank. I guess I could explain that Unit, his tank is called the catfish. And this is the catfish tank. A little bit of a play on words, a little bit of a joke between two builders, but I thought it was a lot of fun. And it's actually built pretty well, is the funny thing about it. The turret, there's a little bit of an open gap here that could be closed better, right? And you know, of course, you could make this stronger, right? But like, it's actually decently strong. And the tank itself, like the body is built pretty well. You know, yeah, there's some decorative stuff here, but it's made to be a decorative bot. It's kind of like an art bot that you can actually take into a game, and you're not going to feel like you're getting punished for playing an art bot. So I had a lot of fun with this because I was able to be silly, and I wasn't losing games just because I was being silly. Cool tank. I like it a lot. Okay, so next, we got the pumpkin patch. This is one of my bots. I made it for Halloween. It's a pumpkin with other little pumpkins. Little pumpkins. Got a little face. It's not much more than that. But the next one, this has a special place in my heart. This is my first hype train. The first version of the Robocraft 2 hype train. And this is probably like my first real art bot.
Hi, yipe.
Hi, yipe. So, you know, I had made the dope fish before. You know, not really a whole lot else for art bots, right? So, but I did want to make an art bot. So I kind of thought, like, what's like a fun art bot I could make? And I was like, oh, you know, I'll make the Robocraft 2 hype train. So, I made the Robocraft 2 hype train. It was a lot of fun. But I think the most fun part about it is that it flies to the moon. Look at that. Look at that. So yeah, this it pretty much became the mascot for my channel. So yeah, this has a special place in my heart. And you'll see in a moment here, it did get updated and there is a much cooler version, which I will also show off. Look at all the hype trains in chat. Thank you guys. Fun memories. Maybe in the rebuild, I'll make a hype train there. Okay, so next we have the buggy from Demora, which has a whole bunch of special control things. This is the strafe. There's also fast steering, I believe. Then you can change the wheels like this if you hold space, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, and that gives you a wider rear steering. Now, apologies to Demora, I can't remember all of the special controls, but there's a lot of special controls. It's a fun bot because all the cool different mobility things you can do. And it just looks awesome. Okay, and next, we have the Honey Badger from Darren Malakayan. Apologies if I'm not saying their name correctly. But this was another little piston walker from around the same era as Hrungnir. This one has a sawtooth melee thing in the front here. And because the bot is so heavy, you know, this is going to actually do a lot of damage if you touch it. Very fun bot. It's a little bit difficult to control just because it likes to swerve side to side, but we can forgive that because it's a honey badger. Badger, 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 badger. Okay, so what's next? This is just a updated version of the Signator rail with a much better barrel. But then we have Gary from SpongeBob. From Joshua01. But yeah, you know, Gary the snail from SpongeBob. I'm forgetting what else it's from. But look at how awesome this is.
Badger, mushroom.
Look at how awesome this is. Because it's got these sensors on the side here. So it's actually a motorcycle. You can see it's got 2 wheels. And then there's these sensors that detect when it's tipping from one side to the other. And then it has those little, you know, kickstand things that help it stay upright. And then the eyes are the guns. Very cool. Next we have a Battle Burger from Crazy Bird 199. Battle Burger, another crowd favorite. I enjoyed this quite a lot. I always love the silly food bots. And the Battle Burger was no exception. It was a lot of fun battling people with the burger. I remember that. I remember that clip, Bobbish. There's a pretty fun clip of Bobbish and one of his pincers. And he pincered me, but he only got like a quarter of it, so it looked like he just took a bite out of it. It was great. Okay, so next, we have the totally normal dart from Pickled Pickle here. You know, it's totally just a dart. There's nothing weird about it. Nothing weird at all. I'm just gonna, you know, press some buttons here because I know nothing's gonna happen. Nothing weird. Oh, what the heck? Oh, it actually broke itself. Ruined the joke. Look at that. So it's the tiniest starter bot in the game, but it's been turned into a mimic chomper, which is hilarious. So Pickled Pickle, he has a whole series of these. I have a few of them in here. We'll see him in a minute. Next, we've got Guppy's Ninja Warrior course. So Guppy in Rage, one of, if not the best art bot builders in Robocraft 2. Seriously, he's got some amazing bots. But he's also got some fun bots like this one. This one, it's it's an obstacle course. You have to do this, and then it activates the timer, I believe. Yeah, and then you gotta hop over here. Hop over here. Try to get over here. Oh! Over here. Checkpoint. Over here. Over here. Oh boy. Here we go. Can we do it? Oh no! Oh! Oh, this is the hard part. Oh! Ah, we fell. Yeah, seriously impressive. A lot of fun for when we did Formula Dart funny games. Lots of props to Guppy. Next, Snorkels, who we saw a little bit earlier from Shadow Crafter. One of my favorite flippers. Any bot with googly eyes gets my approval. Look at that. Breaking the AIO because there were changes made to the AIO, but we're gonna ignore that. Focus on the flipper. Look at that. And also, I believe if you hold shift, it dips it down a little bit just in case somebody has like a really low spot where the wheel guards go like almost to the ground or something and you can't quite get them. This will help you scoop underneath them. Next, we got the Casio from Papita Compure. Again, apologies if I'm saying anybody's name incorrectly. I'm doing my best. But this bot, I saw them play with this and I was like, that is awesome. Or actually, I think I might have seen it on the CRF because at the time I was checking CRF every day just to see all the cool new bots that people were making because there were a lot of new players that were coming in from Next Fest and from the early access alpha being released. And they were making some pretty cool stuff. This is one of them. This guy has a lot of music bots, actually. There's like a banjo and a guitar and a bunch of them. Next we have Mr. Bones from Antoscienza. Just a fun little art bot, but it can actually open the skull if I can remember the button for it. Looks like it's space, and it's a toggle. You can actually just open the mouth. And if you get inside and somebody closes it, it will kill you. Nom 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 nom. Oh, and look at this. Who's that? It's Deco and his Delta. So this is a fun bot from Deco, who's very often in the stream here. You can see from the turning radius here and from how fast it goes. Very mobile. And a cool use of the default color scheme.
Hi, Anna from SLT. The Delta is the best at flanking your enemies.
It is actually pretty good at that. As you can see, it moves real fast. Okay, so next is the AT-AT from Necrocyclone. This is impressive, even though it's not like a combat bot, right? It's an AT-AT, and that alone is quite impressive. It walks.
Roger.
I mean, check it out. You can also rotate the head, by the way. Very impressive. The only AT-AT I've seen that actually walks. And yeah, it does fall over pretty easily, and if you're not on perfectly flat terrain, it's going to really struggle to walk and do this, where it kind of shuffles in place. This is funny, by the way. However, it's still extremely freaking cool. Okay, here we go. Next, we have the one, the only, Hype Train Mark II. This is my greatest creation. Look at it, Snake. Look at it, Meme. Look at it, Dream. A lot of fun memories with this bot. I made it so that it has open tops on the cabs there. So even if you're not on my team, you can still get inside. But there are 4 passenger seats for people on my team. However, it did have a little bit of a problem with carrying capacity. And, you know, I was just really running low on CPU and didn't really have a way around that. We never really got to fix that. I tried with a different version of the Hype Train, but we never really fully finished it. However, I mean, this is just too much fun. Flying around like a hype dragon. Lots of fun memories with this bot. Next we have the Scuttler Mark V from Shadowcrafter. This was probably one of my favorite walkers.
Fly high, the train of the game, and it leaves a message. I hike, I roll, I fly, you gotta try, yes I mean the RC2.
So this bot is probably one of the best walkers that was out at the time, just because of how like predictable the movement was. You know, if you were looking for a walker that had no gimmicks, it was just a walker, just a really solid walker. This is the one I would recommend. The control was very smooth and predictable, and it's actually pretty fast. And it's got a strong turret. All the things that you really want in a walker. Ah, and next we have the Hot Dog Mark II from Vincenzo. So this is not the OG hot dog chomper, but it is another hot dog chomper. The hot dog chomper with a burger. This burger. Please don't eat me. And you can see it chomps. I'm a big fan of the food bots. So I have quite a lot of silly food bots like this. Next we've got Rock'em Sock'em Robots from Lespooge. And it's what you would think it is. It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And yeah, you can actually play it with other people. I don't remember the controls. I'm just sort of pushing buttons here.
Mortal Kombat. Done done.
Mortal Kombat! Oh, it looks like it's mouse control. You just do this. Another one of these great bots to bring out during funny games. After that, we've got... This is, so I think it says Chomper 3 something, but this is really Chomper Prime, if I remember right. Yeah. I think this really is called Chomper Prime from Anto Scienza. One of the first chompers to really rise to dominance, I believe. And I mean, you can imagine why. It's a pretty good chomper. Anto Scienza also has a lot of really fun physics bots. As we can see from the next bot here, also from Anto Scienza, the Raptor. Ah, and this one, you actually have to reset the arms when it spawns. But there we are. And it is a pincer. So it doesn't actually have a gun, it's just a pincer. Just to demonstrate the pinch there, that's how it works. And like most pincers, there's a little bit of a jankiness with the arms when they reset. You know, sometimes they can kind of collapse on themselves. But But usually in most games, the arms would break after 1 or 2 chomps anyway, so that was pretty much okay. After that, we've got the Basilisk. This is another of my bots. This is basically my take on the Signator if it was even heavier. So I liked the Signator, and I was like, the Signator, it's kind of on the heavy side of medium or on the light side of heavy. And I was like, what would it look like if you just tried to make it a straight heavy? You just wanted to be really heavy. That was my goal with this bot. And another interesting thing I did is I wanted to put a ramp on the front here. Had these little triangle plate pattern here. It looks pretty cool. But the idea of this was that I could drive up into people when I'm trying to melee them, and they'll get forced up by the ramp, and they'll be pinched in between that and my turret, and then I can just wiggle the turret around and force damage. And it works pretty well. It also has 2 hinges there, so it has a better ability to right itself if you get flipped over. After that, we got the HDV Grasshopper from Babish. So this is like the pincer, but it's a flipper. See that here? Got these nice big old long flipper arms. You can really lift people with the leverage. Babish, he's talking about your bot. Babish, come back. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. One of my favorite flippers. Oh, and look at that. If you have the, so one of the challenges with flipper design, when you lift the arms, you can see the turret is going to be broken by that. So how do you fix that? You can actually control this with logic, and you can see that he did that here. So if I press shift to lift the arms, the turret actually rotates forward, and it gets locked in that position. So now if I move my mouse, it's not moving at all. Very cool. Next, we've got a BattleBot, L59 from Swearing Hippie. This bot was had a little bit of a popularity surge when it first hit CRF, and I think mostly because it's just a BattleBot. You know, you can clearly see it's made to look like a BattleBot, and it looks freaking cool. Got a flipper, it's got some arcs, and it's got a little laser. You can kind of do a little bit of everything. You know, it didn't really excel at anything, but it was sort of a good all-rounder bot. And it looks like a BattleBot. After that, we have Bonk. The one, the only. The Doge, the Cheems. The Bonk. This is one of my creations. This was my first meme bot. I wanted to make a meme bot art bot. So I decided to try to make Bonk. The Bonk go to jail meme. And it was quite successful. It was a lot of fun. I got a surprising amount of people with this bot. So next, we have Deimos from Dother. This one, I can't remember who recommended me this, or if it was a request, but I love the color scheme, and it's another one of those like really fast bots. And it has a turret that's pretty well defended because it's like hidden in the back there, even though it's a very small turret. I believe it has some extra control scheme stuff too. I see logic there, so it must. But I'm not sure what. Oh, it looks like it has auto fire though. That's cool. Unfortunately, I can't see the descriptions of these bots after I buy them, so I can't see the other special controls that they have. Okay, so next we have a legend of the Robocraft 2 community, the Huntsman from Rick Mary. This bot kind of took over among new players for a while. It sort of went extinct later on when there were some changes made to the game, but for a while this was a very dominant bot, especially among new players. The mobility is just, I mean, it's almost second to none in terms of like how easy it is to control. It just like feels very smooth. Ah, yes. The Technical from Ladak. Haven't seen him in a while, but he used to be quite a regular in the stream, and he made this pretty much for me because we wanted to have a Technical from GTA. You know, the pickup truck with the turret in the back. You can have a second person control the turret. So he whipped this up, and it was a lot of fun. Went cruising around shooting people with this. Good times, good times. Ah, the little devil from Makar Grom. Another regular on the stream. And this one, I mean, look at the turning there. So if you hold shift, you get faster rear steering, wider angle. I believe there might be some strafing controls too. Not sure. But it is very mobile, fun to control. I miss Grom too. I miss Grom and Ladak. Okay, what's next? Ah, yes. So this is the Skirmisher. But as you might have noticed when it was reassembling there, it's not really the Skirmisher. And you can maybe see from the nameplate on the back, there's definitely no stacked plates inside. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Scandalous. Scandalous accusations. Definitely no stacked plates. No idea what you're talking about. It's totally your normal starter box. So as you can see by these giant plates popping out, I replaced the guts with as large of plates as I could, horizontally stacked, making use of that building technique. Improving the starter bots. It was something that I did on the stream pretty early on. I think I put them on YouTube as well. After that, we have the UFO from Filthy Shrooms. And this thing, oh man, just look at this. Look at how it flies. You can see in the center there, oh, what happened here? Oh, we broke it. Oh my god. Okay, take two. So, the UFO from Filthy Shrooms. Let's hope it doesn't destroy itself this time. But you can see there's a centerpiece inside that rotates. And this gives you your directional control. And it's independent from the outside. So you get kind of a gyroscope effects here. And that gives it a very interesting flight pattern. Just the way it flies is very strange. Which is fitting, you know, because it looks like a UFO. And it flies like a UFO. Ah, here we have the normal dart from Deco. A totally normal dart. That's not bouncy at all. I don't know what you're talking about. What else do we have here? Ah, the Cool Bus. So the Cool Bus from Filthy Shrooms. Another fun bot to take out during Formula Dart games. You know, only the cool kids ride in the Cool Bus. And yeah, the sign works, the lights work, the doors work. There are a lot of buses in Robocraft 2. I think this might be one of the first. Grub is saying the bus is inspired by your tub. The bathtub? I remember the bathtub. And then there's also the toilet. After that, we've got another Filthy Shrooms bot. He's got a lot of them. The Duesenberg. This is the Cray version of the Duesenberg with the Cray hood ornament, which I love. That is so awesome. And And look at the spare wheels, they even turn as well. And it's got a pop-up turret. How cool is that? And yes, you can ride on the, I forget what these are called. You can ride on the boards. Okay, after that, we got a pinball machine from Scatto. So this, I just stumbled on it on CRF and I was like, that's freaking awesome. Spent a little while trying to figure out how the controls work. And look at this. It's a pinball machine. Oh, sometimes the ball gets stuck. These over here are sensors. So you can activate these. Let's see. There we go. And it turns on the light there, and the goal is to turn them all on. Gotta activate them all. And if you hit it again, it will disable it. So you have to actually aim. I have beat it before, and it's actually pretty challenging. Very cool that someone was able to do this. This is just another skirmisher version that I have. Okay, but this is Guppy's Bulldozer. From Guppy and Rage. And I mean, oh man, just look at that. Look at how the front part turns separately. Like it's independent, so you actually get some of the turning from this hinge. Very cool. And yeah, it's got arcs, and yeah, you can lift people with it. It also has a secret physics attack. If you hold the lift upwards, it'll start to spin. And after that, we got another Guppy bot, the Dragonfly. This one is actually in the trailer. Let's see, I think these have separate independent wings. He has a bunch of different versions, so I probably don't have the most up-to-date version. But, whoop. We just hopped out and back in. But look at that, it's a Dragonfly. Very nice use of the hexalumium here. And I love the fact that the head turns. After that, we have, okay, so this is a little bit of a weird bot to explain. This is, maybe I'll go for the Caliban first. Next, we have the Caliban from Oxydoom. Much similar to the Huntsman. It took over a lot, especially among new players. It was one of the bots that you would just sort of gravitate towards if you weren't like the most talented builder. You know, this was a pretty reliable one. Very maneuverable, very tanky. Despite its high center of gravity, it doesn't actually tip over very easily. Turret is strong enough to do its job. Very nice bot. And just look at the awesome details of the art. I especially love the grill on the front there. But now that we understand what the Caliban is, I can properly explain the cursed Caliban from Pickled Pickle. So it's a recreation of the Caliban from Oxydoom, but Pickled Pickle, he took that bot and he turned it into a mimic chomper. Nom 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 nom. Look at that. Yeah, so this is another of Pickled Pickle's series of mimic chompers. Next, we have another of Pickled Pickle's bots, but this time it's a Mutalisk. So, you know, I'm a big StarCraft fan, as you guys probably know by now. It's a Muta from StarCraft, so immediately I have to buy it. There's also, now that I'm remembering this, there's a Hellion from Rick Mary, and I don't think I own it. I probably did at one point, and I had to make room. But there's a Hellion also. And of course, Red Eagle has a bunch of StarCraft 2 bots as well, like a Carrier and a Void Ray. I know you have more. And then Taker has an Overlord. There's quite a few StarCraft 2 or StarCraft art bots that made it into Robocraft 2, because a lot of the people who play Robocraft are also StarCraft enjoyers, or people who grew up with StarCraft, maybe. I just wish it had glaives, you know? Why did they not bounce? Okay, after that, we have another Picklebot. This time, it's Bonkus Chompus. This was a personal request of mine, actually. So a little bit of backstory here. So originally, so a lot of the people who played this game, they played it for like, you know, since the first time that they made it publicly available. I joined a little bit later. And the thing is, FreeJam added more starter bots to the game. But if you joined before they added those starter bots, you wouldn't get the new starter bots. So me, I joined later, and I had all those new starter bots. And there were a lot of players who were around longer than me who wanted those bots, but they couldn't get them. And they were wanting, you know, to see what they looked like, you know, if you took them apart. So I made some videos on YouTube, just taking them apart and then reversing the footage so you could kind of see how to build it yourself if you're trying to build it yourself. Pickle was one of the people who wanted those, and I was like, okay, I'll do that for you, no problem. But you have to make Bonkus Chompus. You have to make Bonkus Chompus. Because the original name of this bot is Bonkus Chongus. I'm like, I want you to make a chomper that's Bonkus Chompus. So he did that for me. It's another mimic. Lots of fun. Thank you again, Pickle. Nom 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 nom. After that, we got the Pathfinder Mark V from Vincenzo. This is actually part of a whole series of bots that he has, and I don't have them all anymore, but they all are variations of a similar idea. This one uses a, let's see, there it is. Uses a bunch of arcs on this little extendable arm here. And you can use this to attack towers. And it also has, I believe if you press spacebar, it just goes forward by itself and it shoots and extends the arm. You can actually just point it at a tower and do that. And just get out of your bot. After that, we got the Claw Monster from Robodoom. This one is the work in progress version, I believe. I'm not sure if he ever finished this. You'll see it's a little bit unpredictable with how it moves, but I mean, Jesus Christ, just look at it. It is a monster. The name is no exaggeration. It is really a monster. Huge, huge bot. And very interesting movement too, because there's legs in the back and wheels in the front. You can see you can adjust the top part here, and that affects where you're aiming. Then if you press spacebar, you activate the chomper. Very nice. But the coolest part about this is if you angle it up, oh, I've got a little bit of jank there, but if you angle it up, if you're looking at a tower here, you can actually chomp the tower, which is very interesting. And, you know, you can also grab people and then lift them up if you want to do that. You can do that. Very fun. After that, we got the Crab from Silent Seeker. This is the laser version. There's a couple people with crabs, but this is Silent Seeker's Crab. Lots of fun. You know, it's a simple chomper. Or clapper, I suppose. But I enjoyed it quite a lot. You can see it has a similar base to Chomp, one of the bots we looked at earlier. A silly little clapper. After that, we got another clapper from Makar Grom. Look at that. Sometimes the arms get a little stuck together, but that's okay because usually you're supposed to have, you know, somebody inside in between those arms. So if that's happening, usually it's okay. But yeah, look at that. A great bot to hug friends with. After that, we got my Jack-o'-lantern. Another fun little Halloween bot I made. It's a jack-o'-lantern. You can see there's light coming out from inside. I wanted to do it a little bit more authentically. This is a little bit faked. You can see there's lights in there. But there's also like a Lumium behind here. I wanted to do it where it's like totally open, but I just wasn't able to get the light to behave the way I wanted it to. And you can see I'm not the best at making round shapes in Robocraft. After that, we got the Grizzly. This is probably my favorite pincer from Bobbish, I think. I don't know why, I just feel like I did the best with this one. Out of all the pincers. But to be honest, when I look back at it objectively, it might just be like I have the fondest memories of this one, and I also enjoy the color scheme quite a lot. And yes, it has a spicy name. This is another starter bot that I remade with plate spam inside. This is the Kitty Ram from Pickled Pickle. The Kitty Ram, it is a little bit of a legend. Bobbish says, oh no, not the Kitty Ram. Yes, yes, the Kitty Ram. If you can just imagine seeing this charging at you. This thing is solid Ladium, the strongest material in the game. It's a giant chunk of Ladium. I'll just take it to the turret real quick so we can see like just how tanky it is. This is one of the few bots that like I really actually have to talk a little bit about before I move on here. This thing, it's terrifying, to say the least. I'll just shoot it so you can see. Like if you're trying to take out one of the legs, good luck. And keep in mind, it would be moving while you're trying to hit it here. And it's going to be moving at you, so try to hit it at that spot there. Good luck. And then even when you take that out, it can still kind of move. Yeah. So this thing, it gave a lot of people nightmares. After that, we got Slon. One of the many Slons. They're all a little bit different, but these are from Dima again. Dima 11 2006. He's a fellow thick tank enjoyer like myself. I enjoyed playing these quite a lot. And they got nice little exalumium bits in here and stuff that make them look nice. These were pretty good during the heavy meta, which was probably my favorite period of the game. After that, we have a Signator Sport. This is a Signator variation that I made, where I wanted to do the opposite thing that I did with the Basilisk. I wanted to make a Signator that's more like a medium. You know, because with the Signator, it's like kind of between a medium and a heavy. So I made one version that's more like a heavy, and one version that's more like a medium. That's this version here. And I decided to make it a cherry red with the, you know, it's like got like a Mustang stripe. Because, you know, it goes faster, right? Why the jet? I had extra CPU. That's why the jet. Okay, moving along here because, my god, we have a lot of bots here. Maw from Pickled Pickle. See if we can actually get out of the spawn plate here. Oh, we can, just barely. So, this is probably one of, if not my favorite, Giga Chompers. Meaning that it's a super heavy. It's a walker and a chomper. And oh my god, does it chomp. Does it ever chomp. There are not many bots that can survive being chomped by this. The Kitty Ram that I just showed you, it cannot survive being chomped by this. This is it's one of those bots that yeah, I mean, you just die. If you're inside this, it's like, if you see this text, you're probably about to die. A lot of fun. I enjoyed this a lot. Seriously, this is probably like top 5 or top 10 for me. Pickle Pickle often says that he has better bots, but I don't care. You know, fun factor, it matters a lot for me. This is a fun bot. And you know, you get kills with it. You know, it's not like a complete art bot or anything. This is definitely combat effective. It just kind of needs a little bit of a team play. You know, you gotta work together with your team and try to focus on people who are distracted by fighting somebody else. After that, we got a Mogus from Grubbalubba Snub Snub, the Grubbaluffagus. And I think this is the first one? Yeah, this is the first one. So he's got like 3 of these, right? This is the first version. It's a Mogus with a, yeah, it's the big Amogus with the totally not sus plasma. Look at that plasma placement. It's hard to get the right angle here. But yeah, it's a Mogus. It's the meme. This is a lot of fun, flying around, hitting people with it. But yeah, as Grub, the author of the bot, is pointing out here, it might not be the most combat effective. But we'll see, you know. In later versions, it evolved. After that, we have the Bird of Prey. So the Bird of Prey is sort of the new version of the Little Devil from Ketmol. The Bird of Prey is updated with a lot of new innovations in construction and things like that. Oh, you can see my version has a custom paint job on it, which I did because I really actually love this bot and I played it quite a lot. You can just see like how easy it is to change direction and move around without worrying about hitting things or losing control. There's a lot of logic that really helps your piloting here. Okay, after that, we have Blinky, made by myself. It's Blinky, the Pac-Man ghost. I don't know what else to really say about this. It's very similar to Amogus. Just a silly little art bot. Nothing too special. And after that, we have Bubba from Bamboozled Kiwi. So this was Kiwi's attempt at making a box tank, which if I remember right, they were not too much of a fan of this meta, but they felt like they had to make one, so they ended up making one. And this was the same period as Vattenfaht's HTA and the Signu tank. You know, it was that heavy meta that I keep mentioning. The heavy meta, this was sort of what you were required to have almost if you wanted to be like highly competitive. So yeah, very, very thick and chunky, but still small. It's compact. After that, we got Flippy. This was my first attempt at making a flipper successfully. I tried a few times before that and was nothing really too special, not worth saving. But this one was pretty good. It's basically the Signator base, but without a turret. And then I put these hinges in the back here and adjusted the wheels so that it could fit. Nothing too fancy. After that, we have the Catfish from Unit. Look at how many wheels we got here. Look at those 10 wheels. Look at that. So Unit was not the only 10-wheel enjoyer, but he was definitely the most well-known 10-wheel enjoyer. I think when most people think of Unit, they think of 10 wheels. I didn't play too much with this bot, to be honest, but I played against it quite a lot. So this, you know, it has a special place in my heart because of just how often I've seen it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's the Catfish. You always know who you're looking at, you know. There were other people who played this bot, but Unit was pretty much always playing this bot. He was the first 10-wheeler on day 1. He was with 10 wheels. Wow. Wasted no time. After that, we have the God Eater from Pickled Pickle. So this, it was, you know, we haven't really gone over Smee yet, but this was sort of a counter to Smee and some of the other, like, giant super heavy bots that we've gone over, like the Kitty Ram. Similar to Maw, also from Pickled Pickle. It's a Giga Chomper. So it's a chomper that is so freaking gigantic that it can actually chomp some of the super heavy bots. Okay, let's see if it works this time. Oh, interesting, it's caught. There we go. You can see giant jaws. Absolutely ginormous. And if you press control, much like Smee, it can reverse. It's not a complete reverse because, you know, you can walk like this, but you have to hold control to keep it like this. Smee is actually designed so that it's pretty much symmetrical. That you can actually just press control and flip it around. And then your direction is just reversed and the controls reverse along with it, which is very cool. But this one, it can still do that because the main reason why you would want to do this is if somebody is like standing behind you or in this spot and you can't quite hit them by opening the jaws, you need the jaws to open a little bit further. You can have them swing all the way back around and you can get somebody that's behind you. Okay, after that, we have the Taco Walker. From Yummy Maruchu? Yummy Maruchu? I'm not sure how to say their name. But I am sure that I love this bot, because as soon as I saw it on CRF, I had to have it. You know, it's not every bot that can reinvent the wheel. This bot certainly did. Who needs wheels when you have tacos? Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, chat. And then it's a railgun as well. And railguns have high recoil. So in order to keep it stable, when you press control, you actually get lower to the ground and a wider center of gravity there. And look at that. Amazing. And after that, we have the one, the only Mewo from Bamboozled Kiwi. Viewers of this stream know Mewo is a hero. Mewo came in clutch on a day when we really needed him. He was the hero that Robocraft needed and that this stream needed. Had a lot of fun with Mewo. There are a lot of bots that use Mewo as a mascot, sometimes as a weapon, sometimes as a distraction. Mewo, he's found his way into the hearts of us all. I think most Robocrafters, Robocraft 2 players at least, I think most of us have some pretty fond feelings and fond memories of Mewo. Oh, and also sub to Kiwi. Kiwi's on YouTube. They make Robocraft 2 videos. Go sub them. After that, we have Baby Bonk. So, I don't know how to explain this. I can't remember who the... Oh! Rick Mary and somebody else, I believe. They were some of the first. I forget who actually was first, but it was Rick Mary and somebody else. They were like the first two people. They made baby versions of their own bot. So I think Rick made a baby stag or a baby huntsman. I can't remember which. But as soon as they did that, everybody loved the idea so much that everybody started to make baby versions of their own bots. This, for example, from Oxy, is the baby subordinator, so it's the subordinator, the powerful Robocraft. But instead of wheels, we're using these little tiny motors. That's where that glitchy sound is coming from. Apologies if that's a little bit gross to listen to. But you make custom wheels, so they're actually motors with cylinders attached to the side here. They're not actually wheels. And then you make everything in like 1/3 size or something like that around that, and then you can make a little tiny replica, little baby. And for a few days at least, this just took over. Everybody had their own baby bots. And oh man, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to be had. So, you know, I had to do this with my version of Bonk. And this is Baby Bug. Oh, look at Baby Bug. And yeah, it has an arc. So yeah, I don't own all of them. I have a few of them, but honestly, like, I was running so short on slots at this point that I missed a lot of the baby bots. There's a lot of clips of them on my channel and a lot of other people's channels. It was one of the things that made it to YouTube on a lot of people's channels, so if you're looking for that, it's around. I can help you find it if you want to find it. After that, we have the Centaur from Demora, or as I like to call it, Pony! Oh my god, it's a pony! So this bot, it's a walker, and it's got a turret, right? Self-explanatory. Pretty cool. Just the look of it is cool, right? But then not only that, but also... Oh, whoops, I messed up the turret here. There we go. But also, it has a dance mode, which... Oh god, I'm screwing it up here. So you can actually pirouette. Look at that. How cool is that? And you can do this. Look at the dance. So much fun. I mean, this just put so many smiles on my face. A lot of fun. Okay, next we have the Slasher Tank from Antoscienza. This is, I mean, we did a full review of this on my channel. You can see it there. But it's, you know, there's been creators' scissors. But other than that, I think this might be like the only slasher. So it's unique archetype. So you can see it's got two sections for the body there. And you can go to either side if you want. And if you catch people in between that, or you can use that as a hammer and just hit people with it. Oh, Anto. Good time for you to show up, yeah. Lot of fun. Enjoyed this a lot. If you want to know more about it, you can check out my video. So next, we have the football stadium from Koprov. Another one of Koprov's awesome bots. This one is tons of fun. Oops. For Formula Dart games where everybody's just having a good time playing around. It's a soccer stadium, and it actually works. So you can see there's extra balls here. And these are just extra in case something goes wrong, but it actually has a scoreboard. If I get a goal here, you'll see. Look at that. We got a point. Laser went off, and a new ball has been dispensed. If I push that in there. Oops. And this was part of the fun of it, to be honest, was just trying to get it to go the right direction. Look at that, another ball comes out. Very cool, lots of fun with this. Okay, so after that we have the Mini Subordinator from Oxydoom. Another bot from the baby bot phase we kind of showed you a little bit earlier here. But yeah, this also, I actually have a video that features this specifically because it just inspired me so much. I was like, this is just too funny. Giving me so many ideas for jokes. So next, we have the Formula One from Keegard, who's often in the stream chat here. It's a Formula One car. He's got a few versions of these. This one is the one with the laser on it. There's also one with an arc, and I think there might be a plasma too. But I mean, look at how fast it goes. Oh my god. Ooh. Very fast. Lots of fun to drive this around. We can probably get some airtime too if we go over this jump. Yeah, oh, look at that. Oh, we flipped. Oh, yeah, you have... Oh, look at that. Yeah, you can fast steer with shift. And just control... control is strafe. Nice. And it's got brake lights. Lots of fun. Quite a few people I remember seeing this in the chat. They were like, yo, is that a Formula 1 car? Oh my god. Very cool. From Macargrom. There were earlier versions, but this one I think was the best that he made. It was his attempt at making a potato. Whoops. And seeing Grom like progress in his building skill was really cool too. I remember the earlier versions were like not as well defended for the thrusters and things like that. It was cool to see it progress. Okay, after that, we have another Bobbish pincer. The Godzilla. Not sure what else I can say about all the pincers because there's just so many of them from Bobbish that I have. I'll probably just take them out and do a little pincer with them. You guys can see the little subtle differences. How they get a little bit better because now, like this one, for example, it has a control so you can hold it like this. And that helps a lot when you're trying to prevent the arms from getting caught. Like we're doing all that fancy stuff and the arms aren't breaking. Very cool. After that, we got the evil flipper from Macargrom again. He made a few flippers and this was the one that was the most fun, I think. Nice little flipper. Cool use of slanted construction. You can see stuff at an angle there. With the larger wheels here. That makes it a lot easier for you to actually like get underneath people. Because sometimes, you know, the difference between being able to flip people or not is like a couple inches. If you can get it closer to the ground, it's usually better. Okay, and after that we have another Slon from Dima 11 2006. Like I was saying earlier, these are usually like different heavy tanks, different thick tanks. He's a fellow thick tank enjoyer. And they all have their different strengths and weaknesses. This is another one of these bots that, like, even though a lot of people didn't use this bot, like it wasn't popular, you know, I would still use it every now and then because, like, you know, I play enough bots to be able to recognize good building techniques when I see them. I'm like, okay, even though you got like a bunch of art bot pieces on here and stuff, you know, it still like performs decently well in combat. And that's always nice when you can have a bot that looks good and does well in battle. Okay, after that, we have the HVPL tank from Skomic. I like this one a lot though because it, you know, it abuses horizontal plate spam and composite armor. And I gave it a custom color scheme because I enjoyed it so much. You know, a lot of times the simple designs are actually better. I'm a big fan of elegance through simplicity. And I think he was a fairly new builder who might have actually been new to Robocraft when he found my stream. I can't remember. But it was cool seeing this come out of him because this is actually a pretty strong bot. And next we have the bumper cars from Oxydoom. This was another personal request of mine. Back when everybody was making baby bots, I was like, oh my god, somebody needs to make bumper cars. So Oxydoom, he came through for me. He came through for me and made the bumper cars when nobody else would. And they're getting caught here. Let me just reassemble them here. Unfortunately, the baby bot fad was kind of on its way out by the time this was ready. So we didn't really get to use them too much. But still, I'm glad that we got the chance to play with them a little bit. It's just like when everybody was making those baby bots, we had to do this, you know, it's just one of those ideas that's like, it's too good. We can't just let this opportunity pass us by. Someone needs to make bumper cars. It has to be done. Back through Robocraft 2's life. Next up, we have the Freighter from Pickled Pickle. Yet another mimic. A mimic of a starter bot, the freighter. But this one is the freighter. Oh yeah, it's frightening. Chompers were always one of my favorite parts of Robocraft too. Next, from ArtGUK, we have the Joker Poker, which, and I hope I can get it to work. This is actually like a missile launcher with arcs, and it has a very complex, like, artillery system. You can actually adjust the angle of firing. Getting it to work correctly is a little bit challenging. Oh. There it goes. There it goes. Yeah! You can actually adjust the angle here. There's like different settings. You can have it on different settings depending on how you want the angle to be. This is cool because he set these like in advance, you know? I'm not like holding down the button here. Like if I press shift, it goes there. If I press control, it goes back. Very cool. After that, we've got Guppy's Dragon. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this amazing art bot. So, you know, I had made the hype train previously. We showed that off a little bit. And the flight of it was very interesting. You know, it kind of has this like undulating snake dragon motion. And that caught Guppy's eye, and he was trying to make a dragon like this, like a Chinese dragon style, like Gyarados. And, you know, so when he saw that, he's like, oh, you have to tell me how you did that. After that, from Grubba Snub Snub, we have the Mini Mogus. So previously I showed off the Mogus. There it is. It was pretty big. This one is a little bit more medium-sized. And it comes with a buddy. You can actually have a friend pilot this one if you like. But it flies independently using the controls of the first one. There's nobody inside it, which is pretty cool. There's a pretty hilarious clip actually of me using this in a game, and then I got shot and I was trying to land on a roof, and I like hopped out of my bot at the last second, and I'm like, oh, I'm totally dead, they're about to shoot me. And then I look up and I see the other Mogus flying down at me, and I'm like, oh my god, it's right there. And I hopped inside of it and I got away for like half a second, and then I died anyway. It was great though. So after that, we have the meta from Patu. This has a little bit of a history. Essentially, you know, there's towers in the main game mode, right? The way this works, you use the arms to grab the tower, and then you can smack into it. I think this is a new version though, that actually hops. You can see it has something on the bottom there. Hoist yourself up and then just smack like that with the arms. The earlier versions of this had a giant arm in the back that would swing up vertically, so you would grab the base of the towers with these arms, and then the arm in the back would come up and swing and smack it. That was really entertaining. Okay, so after that, we have Gravity from Awesome Sauce, which also has some pretty nice clips on my channel. This bot, as you can see, there's a lot of hinges. It's a flipper, but most flippers, you know, they just have like one arm in the front and it lifts up. This one, it has the body split into two sections. So I'm trying to find a good view of it here. I can't really though, I think it's concealed. But essentially, these bottom hinges push downward and these top hinges push this platform upward. So you get both forces at the same time. And I'll try to show it off on a Gary here. Oh my god. Look at the Legos. That's what I was talking about. Okay, after that, we have the Nightshade from Oxydoom. This is another legendary bot, like the Caliban or the Huntsman. It took over the meta. At one point, it was like half of the new players were playing this bot. It was just that popular, at least. I mean, almost every other game, maybe more, I would be like, oh, look, it's another Nightshade. Oh, look, a Nightshade. Awesome bot. Great looks to it. Very good, like, all-around bot. Which is the main reason I think that all three of those bots ended up being popular. They're just sort of good all around. After that, we have the OG hot dog chomper from Kopro. The hot dog man with the hot dog plan. And yeah, it's a chomper. Oh, and in case you're wondering why the camera is zooming like that, they changed it. Originally, the camera did not zoom like this, so a lot of old bots, they'll have right-click bound to things that, you know, you don't really want the zoom on, but you can't really do anything about that now. After that, we have the Chimera from Starshock. So this is one of Starshock's, he has several of these super heavy walkers. And this one actually is a hybrid walker that has a wheel in the front. So it's not completely a walker, but most of his walkers are like completely walkers. And this one also has a little bit of melee in the front. There it is. Look at that. And because this bot is like absurdly heavy, way heavier than you would normally be able to make it with just wheels alone, the melee does like a ridiculous amount of damage. And the angle even allows you to like get a little bit of flip and chomp action, which is pretty fun. Very cool bot. I also like the stripes and color scheme here. After that, the Battle Beetle. So this is another super heavy walker. This one is completely a walker. This one is also a shuffler. Has these little shuffler legs. So there's no moving parts in these legs, really. All the moving stuff is in here. So it's actually like, you know, they don't have like ankles or knees. Anything weird like that. There's no pistons, you know. It just moves like that. And then, I wonder if I can show it. I don't think I can. There's hinges in here that move the lower body in relation to the upper body. I think there are those hinges over here. So if I try to move normally, you can see I'm not really moving. I'm kind of moving, right? But if I hold down shift or space, it raises the body up and there's like more distance for the legs to actually get their traction in. So you move a little bit faster. And you can use this to get on top of other bots and melee them. Because these legs are moving ridiculously fast and they have like an absurd amount of force behind them because of all the weight. This was very controversial in the Robocraft 2 community. I should probably mention. This sort of, it had a lot of mixed feelings, you know. A lot of people loved to see how ridiculous it was, and a lot of people didn't like to see what it did to the game. But, you know. I like all of these weird bots. We're going to show off all of them. After that, we've got Maul from Pickled Pickle. I think we showed off Maw already. I'm not sure. These were sort of born out of the... Born out of the war to get heavier and heavier. And this one has a very interesting arm here. So this arm is actually for towers. It's like a tower scraper. So the arm comes forward, touches the tower, and then it scrapes the berries off. Okay, and after that, we have another of Pickled Pickle's super heavy walkers. Eat. Part of a series that he did. I have most of them. I think there's 2 more, actually. I'm not sure. This one, let's see, what does this one do? Push all the buttons. It's a pincer. It's a super heavy pincer. There we go. I was wondering how to get the arms to go all the way in. Yeah, you can see the arm broke itself there. That's kind of common for a lot of these pincers. They're sort of a 1 to 2 use weapon anyway. You know, usually you reassemble between fights, so you don't really need it to survive more than 1 or 2 grabs. Very cool, though. Ah! After that, we have Thomas the Destroyer from Filthy Shrooms. I think this is self-explanatory. Do I need to... Is there any explanation needed here? I don't think there is. I think this explains itself. Okay, and next, we have the STRV-103 from Sir Pudding. And yes, it does the things. Yes. Let's see, I can't remember how to lower it again. Ah, you gotta hold right click. And I think it's auto fire too. I'm not sure how I turned on the auto fire. It's the only fixed turret, real actual bot that I know of. Like, it's actually usable, despite the fixed turret. Ah, yes, of course. So after that, we have any good tips from Awesome Sauce. And this, you know, as you can all see, it's a very sophisticated design. You know, only the finest of design elements are employed here. You know, only the finest building techniques, the most advanced. You know, this uses like really just like top tier construction methods. You know, like this stuff in the back here. Oh man, it just adds so much. You know, the completely open pilot seat, the guns in every possible direction, the springs. I mean, yeah, you can hit everywhere at once. You know, it really didn't get any better than this bot right here. You know, when I first saw this, I was like, how does anybody top this? And, you know, nobody did. Turns out, nobody did. This really was the best bot in Robocraft 2, I think. Combat-wise, you know. There's probably bots that look better than this, but I think this is the strongest bot. Round of applause to Awesome Sauce. This is a really fantastic bot. The amount of kappa on my face right now. So after that, we have the Claw Viper from Robodoom. This, you know, it's called the Claw Viper, but I affectionately call it the Chad Flipper for obvious reasons. It is very fast. And it's a flipper. It's a hunter. It does best when you use the mobility and you just try to like stay far away from a fight and then wait for somebody to be distracted, and then you come in from behind and flip them. This is probably one of my first bots that I actually got on CRF. Ah, this is the Knight of Sun from Makar Grom. It's a clapper. Oh yeah, it claps. And you can see those arms are real heavy. Whoa. We found a glitch in the Matrix, guys. Okay, after that we have the Paladin from Queen of Foxima, who I should have more bots from, but I never, like, put in the time necessary to learn how to fly them, because some of them need, like, some rather unique flying skills. But Queen of Foxima has quite a lot of these really fun arc bombers. Look at that. Where you can actually drop the arcs on people. Very difficult to actually pull this off. It's probably not the best idea strategically, but for the cool factor alone, oh man, it's worth it. Ah, yes. So this is from Crazy Joe, who I am not sure if they're known for anything else on the market here, but I remember coming across this on CRF and I was like, that's awesome. So it's a dart that has this on the back of it. And this is set up, so this is a different separate cluster, right? And that's actually set up to be at the same height as the tower. So what you do is you drive up to a tower, back up into it, and then reassemble. And then that puts that there, and it auto captures the tower for you, and you can just drive away. Very fun playstyle. A little bit annoying for the enemy team, but that's okay. Ah, yes. So after that, we have my latest and greatest in hype train technology. It never really got completely finished here. I never really finished the passive flight. It's supposed to be like passively flying above the ground a little bit. And yes, apologies for the seizure warning here. Yeah, there's a disco ball that moves very fast. I should probably lower the speed, but you know, it's funnier that way. Anyway, you can see, you know, it does fly, which is sort of a main requirement here. It's just very slow. And, you know, the design, it looked, you know, a little bit more like a moving truck than it looks like a train. Originally, it was meant to be a hype train, but what I wanted was room inside here for all of the passengers. You know, with a bar and a lounge, you know. All the necessary amenities for Robocrafters to enjoy. Yeah, it was like just a little bit short on CPU to make it work nicely. Yeah, you can see that it's a little bit blocked here, but that says awesome Robocrafter lounge. There's a flat screen here. You know, I tried to make it nice and comfortable. The floor is a little bit slippery. There's not much I can do about that. Just sort of how Arium is. And yeah, unfortunately, I never got it to like passively fly. I wanted it to hover like a couple inches above the ground. But I never was able to get it like perfectly balanced in order to make that work. Needed just a little bit more CPU, I think, to really do that. It was a lot of fun regardless. After that, from Defender Dawn, we have the Brick Bull. And oh boy, it is some bull. Can you just imagine this thing charging at you? Like, my God. Look at this. Got this shovel on the front here. And yeah, you can lower it too if you need to get a little bit lower. Oh, and this thing, it goes high enough for you to actually hit towers. So you can actually bring it up and then walk into a tower and then just go smack, 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 and you can hit the tower. Yeah, this bot totally changed the meta. This was the rise of the brick walkers. This was the OG brick walker, right? I don't think there was another brick walker before this. I guess technically the taco walker was before this, but it wasn't really using the brick to its full advantage, you know. Technically it's a brick walker, but it's so small you don't even think of it as a brick walker. I'm talking about this here. I think this was before the Brick Bull. Brick Bull was before Kitty Ram. Kitty Ram is basically just a pink Brick Bull. Kitty Ram was the first one? Oh, okay. Kitty Ram was finished before Brick Bull. Okay. Interesting. They both came out at around the same time, I remember. After this, we've got Guppy's cow from Guppy and Rage. This is an answer to the question, do cows exist in, what year is it? 2034? 2044? What year is Robocraft? Anyway, it's a you know, it's an inside joke for the community about do cows exist in the future. So Guppy made a cow. And it's a transformer cow. Lots of fun. Even if it does tip over sometimes, you know, that's okay. Who doesn't like cow tipping every now and then? It's fun for the whole family. Ah, yes, after this, we have the Speedy Crawler from Fallout, who also used to stream this game. And I believe he stopped at the floor is lava patch, which also messed up this bot here, and we'll see if it actually works again now. Looks like it does. Anyway, I was a little bit worried. There was a little bit of a bug with the aiming reticle. It was really tweaking out. Anyway, so this bot is awesome because it's a crawler that can crawl over mountains. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Like, how freaking cool is that? You know, is it the strongest? No. But does it get wherever it needs to go? Oh, yeah. All right, so after that, we have Smee from Peregrine. Another fan favorite. When people think of chompers in Robocraft 2, I think most people probably think of Smee. Because, oh boy. Look at it. Smeezes. Oh. This thing is terrifying. And beyond entertaining. So it's a chomper, first of all. It's also a block walker. There were several versions of this that moved in different ways. This was probably the last version, I think. There might have been other innovations that came after this, but I think Peregrine was just trying like every type of movement that they could possibly do with this. So this is a block walker. You can see it's got these blocks in the front here that move. And that's how it actually moves. There's a little bit of a wheel in the back, but that's mostly just for steering, right? Then if you right click, you get your main chomp. And if you hit control, you get a full wraparound chomp. And when you do this, you actually can keep moving. Like, it reverses the controls. So I don't have to like be driving in reverse or anything here. Like, I'm pressing W here to go forward, press control, and I'm pressing W here to go forward. Very cool. And don't get me wrong, this bot has its own weaknesses too. You know, the pilot seat, for example, is right here. And it's actually not that well defended if you know how to get to it. And wrapping around your arms and switching to the other side can also help protect your pilot seat. After that, we have the Cursed Potato from Spiffle McDiffle. So potatoes is the term for the new version of the drone, essentially, because they're not really drones, that we have in Robocraft 2. So potatoes sort of became a meme in the Robocraft 2 community. And Spiffle here decided to make a walker potato. It's actually just a potato. And it's also a walker. So this is a very fun art bot. I got a kick out of this. I played a lot of games with this. Just for the fun of playing with a potato. Oh yeah, look at all those potato emotes. Ah yes, but after that we have the Monster Kitty from XBT. The Monster Kitty. Oh boy. This thing... I'm not sure if this is the most frustrating, like, rage-inducing bot that we have in Robocraft 2. Like, but it's up there. You know, if I think about, like, the bots that made the most people rage, you know, I can think of a lot of people talking about, quote-unquote, that stupid cat. And we all know which cat they're talking about. There's a lot of cats, but this is the one they're talking about. This and Ludicrous Kitty, which is the updated version of this, which is even faster. So it's very similar to the Battle Beetle. It moves in the same way. You know, you can also use shift and space to raise yourself up into attack mode. You can actually get on top of bots. And I mean, you gotta love the tail. Very fun. Very fun. After that. Oh, this. This is a treat. Now this, okay. This is the Mantis from Oxydoom. This, how do I even explain this? So this is an experimental archetype that never really like took off fully. Sorry, the AIO broke, that's a bug. It never really sort of took off fully. It never really like fully developed is really what I mean to say. But the idea is you have these arms here. So these arms have springs inside them, and the springs are set to be like, how do you say? They're wound. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of force behind this. But it's being held by this Arium stick right here. This is actually holding this in place. But you can see the stick pokes out right here, right? So basically, the idea is you break the stick and it releases the spring, which will launch this piece out. And if you do that as you bring it down on top of somebody's bot, it'll launch the spring into them, which does crazy physics damage. So I'm going to attempt to do that on a Gary here. And you will see. If I pull it off right, it'll turn it into confetti. Oh, yeah. Shame that that archetype never really got fully developed. Okay, so after that, we've got the Centurion from Ben Creator. Now this, it's a big, thick tank. I mean, you can just see, it's a brick. It's meant to be tanky. This thing's not winning any beauty contests anytime soon. It doesn't need to. It's not what it's built for. This thing's built for combat. Built to be tough. Oh, this is a treat. This is another special treat. You can see the further down we get here, the more creative Robocrafters we're getting. We were starting to really unlock the really high tier metas here. The really crazy archetypes. Like here, the Scorpio from Filthy Shrooms. Oh boy. This was a cool archetype. So this thing, look at this. You got this arm here, and this thing is controlled by the mouse. So when I right click, it activates the arm, and then I move my mouse around and it aims the arm. You can see it's just aiming wherever I'm aiming, right? And at the end of that arm, we have arcs. So if you can just imagine, you just drive up to somebody and then hit them with the arms. And because you can retract it like that, whenever they're trying to shoot you, you can actually just pull it back in behind cover because it's in the back of your bot. Very well defended. Okay, after that, we have the Aplamato from Dash the Flash. So this is a more recent potato or box flyer from Dash. I believe this is an adaptation of Ketmal's design. You would have to ask Dash more about this to get the full story. But this was the latest drone that he was working on. I'm pretty sure there's a more recent version than this. I'm guessing I don't have the most recent version. I think both Dash and Ketmal have new drones or flyers that I don't have, but these are the latest versions that I have, I'm pretty sure. Either way, though, you know, the point really is to show off that the innovations and developments in design, you know, it really started to get min-maxed here. And you can see the flight is a lot more controllable than the earlier versions of the flyers, you know? And it's also more focused on speed. You can see, like, speed is really the main focus here. After that, the ball breaker from Bobbish. So this one, oh, there we go. Nope, nope, come on, come on, little arm. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, I'm just gonna reassemble. So this is the ball breaker from Bobbish. You can see we're continuing with this new retro color scheme that he's been using here. So this is another pincer, as you can see, and there's a lot of different new innovations with the controls of it here. You can do different fancy things if you really want to smack people. And it's a lot more reliable with the arms not breaking themselves. You can tell Bobbish put a lot of hours into trying to get the arms to work perfectly. Yeah, he's in chat here. He's saying Logic 3.0, so this is the third version of your Logic. And yeah, it's a lot more intuitive to control. Doesn't break itself as easily. It's easier to reset when it does get screwed up. Yeah, I'm gonna miss these. You know, this was like one of the coolest things. Just the fact that like we had a pincer guy in the community. You know, like, this is pretty cool having you as the pincer guy, Bobbish. Makes me really sad that like we might not get pincers in the rebuild version, you know, because it's like it's just so freaking cool. Like, why would we want to get rid of this? Okay, and after this we have the Goliath from Hashiran. It's another hybrid walker. These things became popular at around this stage of the meta. But this hybrid walker is a little bit different because it actually has two wheels. Most hybrid walkers just have one wheel, and they use that for balance and for steering. And then they use the legs or arms, however you want to think of them, and for the main movement, because those can give you like a lot more, how do you say? They can lift much heavier bodies than just wheels would be able to. But this one's a little bit strange because it has two arms and two wheels. Let me just reassemble it here. So the way it moves, it looks like an animal. This looks like some sort of weird creature. I used to play a game called Sacrifice back in the day. This kind of reminds me of the Rhinoc. If anybody knows what that is, it reminds me of a Rhinoc. And look, it's a chomper in the front. Very cool bot. Lots of fun. And it's actually like pretty good, is the other very interesting thing. You know, this was somebody who, you know, they weren't like already an established builder in the community that I'm aware of. And it's a totally unique archetype. Never seen another bot like this before, never seen one since. And it's actually playable and does not bad, you know? After that, we have the Rescue Chinook from Liquid K. Look at this. Look at this. It's so much fun. I had a lot of fun picking people up with this, giving them a ride, dropping them off. I just love seeing all the like creative uses of moving parts. Ah, so after that we have a classic that has been reduxed and updated. So this bot actually, like, this is way up in the list. Originally I bought it like up here in my earlier days of Robocraft. but this is a newer version of it. So it's the rail flipper from Filthy Shrooms. So you can see it's a flipper, and it has a rail. Look at that flipper arm. Oh, it's big. Big and long. And strong. And oh man, it can flip. This was, you know, along with the Claw Viper, this was my introduction to flippers. Seeing the rail flipper and the Claw Viper do their thing, you know, really inspired me. And it really, you know, those and Smee, like those are the bots that really got me into Robocraft 2. So these have a pretty special place in my heart. After that, yes, after that, we have the Turtle Tour from me. So, this is basically a Signator, but, how do I explain this? So, there was a patch which, made some changes. It made lasers much stronger than they were previously, and it also made custom turrets a lot weaker than they were previously. So with that information combined, and the fact that plate spam is very strong versus lasers, I decided to take the Signator, which is already mostly plate spam, and I took the turret off because the turret is actually like, it's something like 300 CPU out of like 500 that's being spent on the body. So the majority of the CPU on the body is actually the turret. So I just said, okay, so what if I took that 300 CPU and I instead just made the body way thicker and stronger and added even more plates to it? And that's what I did here. And then I just slapped an AIO on top. And it actually performed very well. It was very strong. So I enjoyed playing this quite a lot. And I have a few different versions that have different armor compositions to kind of mix and match like mobility and strength. You know, how tanky you want to be versus how fast you want to go. This version is quite tanky, but I have another version that's very fast. You can just see how much faster that is. So this version is actually the same weight as a starter bot. It weighs around the same as, I think it's between, I think it's around the same as like a skirmisher or a kiwi. It's a little bit lighter than that, but it's much stronger. After that, we've got Guppy's Kraken with a custom sign in here from Guppy and Rage. Oh yeah, it's the Kraken. And oh boy, this thing was fun. Any bot with googly eyes, yeah, you got me on board. The fact that it has this little melee arms in the front here, like, and it's got that like umbrella action to it. Oh man, very cool. And after that, we have the Nutscracker from Bobbish. So this, if I remember right, this is essentially the Ball Breaker. It's updated a little bit from the Ball Breaker, right? Yeah. So this is essentially the Ball Breaker, but the logic has, well, first of all, it's got the Christmas color scheme, right? Because this came out around Christmas. But it also, you can see when the arms grab, they also pull inward. They meet in the center and then they pull inward and back. And that motion right there, that kills people really good. So this was another very interesting innovation in the pincer technology. Small change, yeah. Yeah, it's a small logic change, I guess, but like the effect in game was actually massive. I think this one might have actually been like the one I was most combat effective with. Maybe it was just a really good day. I remember getting a lot of kills with this thing. Okay, after that, we have the Swift Blade from Peregrine. Now this thing, I don't even know where to begin here. God, it doesn't even want to wait for me to get inside of it. So look at this. It's a Sidewinder. You see this? So the wheels are at an angle, and that actually allows you to strafe as your main movement. Like you move diagonally. And you can also strafe side to side like this. And you can go forward, but it's not as fast as moving diagonally, if I remember right. Like here's diagonal, and if I go forward. Okay, maybe it is about the same. But, oh yeah, and then of course it's a chomper. Or a clapper, I suppose. And let's see, does it have a way to propel itself upward? I don't think so. Oh yes, it does. That's right. So much like the Patu's Metabot, oh, we just destroyed ourselves. Much like the Patu Metabot, it can launch itself up into the air a little bit so that it can grab the tower, and you can actually melee the tower. Let's see if I can pull that off a little bit nicer. I think it was space. No? I did it somehow. How did I do it? Ah, shift and space. That was it. So after that, we have the Shock Trap from Spinnerack. So this is another, it's a spring, what do we even call these? It's like this that we showed off earlier, the Mantis that uses the spring traps, spring mines on the end of arms. Spring Hammer. Yeah. We never really settled on a name for this archetype, I think. But they're like Spring Hammer bots. So you can see this also has two little spring arms here, and I think it's shift and control that activate them. Shift and space. And you can aim them with the turret, as you can see. Probably one of the coolest archetypes to come out of their game, I think. I was really excited to see this. And to give a little bit more history behind this, so the idea of using a spring with this little Arium rod, holding it in place and then breaking the rod to release the spring, this has been used before. They were originally just spring mines on the ground. So people were making bots that had, you know, like minefields that you could just leave behind and then drive away. And there were spring mines that if you drove over them with your bot, it would break the Arium rod and then you'd get sprung. And it hurt real bad. So this was sort of an advancement in that technology of like, how do we weaponize that even further? After that, we've got the Spidertron from Ben Creator. So this is the Factorio spider. Just look at this thing. Like, oh man, that is cool. Oh yes, and it has a little bit of a leg adjustment here. It's definitely mostly an art bot, but oh man, is it a cool art bot. I just love seeing how it moves, you know? I mean, it just, this is really a spider. You know, it doesn't look kind of like a spider. It's like, oh man, this is perfect. Yeah, Awesome Sauce says probably his favorite walker. Yeah. In terms of like Artbot walkers, yeah, this is probably my favorite Artbot walker. In terms of like combat walkers, I think Shadowcrafter's Scuttler is probably my favorite in terms of combat. But this thing, oh man, every time I would see Ben Creator playing with this, it's like, oh yes, it's the Spider Walker. I will try to remember Red. I'll do my best. Okay, after that, we have a hover. We have a hover from Makar Grom. And this is actually like a pretty good hover. It's pretty much just like a solid hover. You know, this is gosh, I have to get out of this thing because that hover sound is so freaking loud. Yeah, it's super loud. God, I have to walk like all the way away from it just to not hear that sound. Okay. So this is like your typical pancake hover. Sorry, let me adjust my mic real quick. So this is like your typical pancake hover. When hovers were first released, you know, this was sort of what people thought that you could do with it, because as you can see, like, the hovers themselves are quite massive. So getting these to actually, like, fit into a design is a little bit of a challenge. And then you can also see the stability is kind of a problem. So all of that combined, it sort of leads you to this pancake design where you're basically just a pancake with hovers on the sides. But there were some interesting innovations here, like, because you have mouse control, you don't have to have the same turret setup, and that kind of unlocks Gooseneck as a different option for you. And you can see that bot uses this here. And these, that little, like, front area that holds the barrel of the turret, you'll see that on a lot of these hovers. And this is probably one of the first ones to do that. Grom was pretty early figuring out all the hover stuff that you could do. So after that, we have the Yo-Ho-Ho Robocraft from Ace. Yarr. And it's a pirate ship. Yarr. I think this kind of explains itself. You know, we got that big old cannon on the front here. It hovers. It's a pirate ship. What more do you need to know? After that is the Manticore from Demora. This is one of the few hovers that's not a pancake hover. You can see it's kind of got a piranha type design in terms of how the body is shaped. But it's not exactly the same, and you can't really get it exactly the same because the hover is just much different in Robocraft 2. But very cool. I especially like the OQR paint scheme with the camo and the aluminum. Looks very nice. Haha, yes. LCL. Model 1 LZ from Awesome Sauce. So this, I think you made this, Awesome Sauce, I think you made this to just sort of explore what you could do with plate spam and composite armor. If I remember right, that's sort of the story behind this bot. But as you can see, you know, there's multiple layers in there. You can see all these thin layers here. And these are Arium. And these are Moderonium. So you get this composite armor mix because this is sort of born out of a change to the way connection strength was calculated. Originally, if you had two materials that were different materials and they were connected to each other, it would just use the lower connection strength of the materials. But they changed it to average between them. So because you get that average between them, you can actually mix different materials and not get penalized for it. And that led to a lot of interesting developments in composite armor. Ah, yes. And then we have the pirate ship. Very creative name. From Filthy Shrooms. One of many pirate ships that appeared out of nowhere for no reason. I'm not sure why. You know, just one day we all decided to make pirate ships, you know? Who knows? Who knows why? But look at this. Look at this. And yes, you can control the cannons. Oh, you can also tip yourself over with the cannons. Yar har! Very fun. Ah, yes. And after that, we've got the soft shell from Awesome Sauce. Just look at it jiggle. Look at that jiggly. My magnum opus, Awesome Sauce says. So this thing, it was basically made to be like the ultimate suspension bot so that you could just hold down forward and not care about terrain. That was your goal, essentially, right? If I'm remembering. You wanted to make a light bot that was like so mobile that you could just not care about what you were driving over. You could just keep driving. A bit hard to show on this map because there's not very much bumpy terrain here for me to experiment with, but you can see a little bit there. It really doesn't care too much about the bumps. It just keeps going. And look at it jiggle. Look at it wiggle. And yes, as Awesome Sauce is saying, this actually performed pretty well. Yeah, punching above its weight, yeah, quite literally. Because this bot is extremely light. You can see all this stuff here. This is Arium, which is the lightest, weakest material. There is very little Moderonium in here, I think. Is there any Moderonium? Okay, this is Moderonium. Right in here. This is Moderonium. A little bit of Ladium inside? Okay. There's probably some Ladium in the core. That makes sense. Alright. Next up on the list, we have the Boreas from Oxydoom. So this was Oxydoom's attempt at making a chomper, and it was quite successful. This ended up being one of my favorite chompers, I think. You can tell, you can see here, it's got two main chomps. You know, you have the main little average-sized chomp, and then if you need to get real big, you can get a wide mouth. Look at that. And of course, it's got a custom turret as well. And it's reasonably mobile. So this was a very interesting bot because, you know, most of the chompers of this era were like super heavy chompers. And people were just making like bigger and bigger and heavier and heavier. And then at a certain point, you know, for a lot of reasons, people started to gravitate towards medium bots again. And medium and lighter bots were like more favored in the meta for a while. During that era, this bot was really strong because it sort of was mobile enough that you could still play it just as a bot, right? You're just a little bit slow, you know, but you're tanky, you know, you can move around. And then, you know, once you get a chance to use the chomper, it really excels because this thing obliterates people. I mean, it's just these giant sticks. You get inside there and it's not a good time for you. Ah, these. This is the Scissors from Ben Creator. So this is the only other slasher that I'm aware of. And it's not really the same type of slasher. Oh, AIO bug. It's not really the same type of slasher as the slasher from Anto Scienza. Instead, it's more of a, it's a snipper. Just the way it turns on its axis is, it's set up a little bit differently. It's kind of hard to explain. If you compare the two side by side, you'll see what I mean. I believe he wanted to just make a slasher, and then as he was making it, he realized that it was like very similar to a pair of scissors, so he just made it look like a pair of scissors. I think that's the story behind this. Yeah, Bobish saying. Yeah, it's more like a chomper slasher hybrid. Yeah. Very interesting. It's kind of between all of these different archetypes. And it's an art bot, but it's very playable. So next, we have a one-to-one recreation of the example build of Platformo Rotato from Red Eagle. You can see here, just a little bit of Robocraft history. So for anybody who doesn't know, I'll just explain Formula Dart here. Nice. So Formula Dart, this is something that Robocrafters, we just started doing. It used to be, originally there were test times for Robocraft 2. So you could only play Robocraft 2 during certain test times. And they were on the weekends, and there was a North America one and a Europe one, and they were about 4 hours apart. So it was like 2 hours of North America, and then I think it was a 2-hour break, and then it was 2 hours for EU, if I remember correctly. And at the end of every test session, so at the end of the North America test and at the end of the EU test, we would all try to queue up at the same time, and we would get into a game together and do Formula Dart, where we would race darts. Dart being one of the starter bots. And everybody made their own custom darts with interesting little tricks and cool custom paint jobs and all this cool stuff. It was very fun. It was a really cool era. And that's when everybody would bring out all their fun art bots too, and all the cool little like mini games and stuff that people made. Like, it was a lot of fun. Formula Dart, I think, has a special place in a lot of Robocrafters' hearts. So this is Awesome Sauce's Dart. After that, we have the Dragonfly from Filthy Shrooms. So this was probably the most popular hover after hovers came out. Get inside of it before it kills me. You can see it's really employing the pancake design here, but this one also has some hovers in the back right here, which adds some stability, and they're protected because they're in the back like that. And you can see, just like the other hover from Grom, it's got that little area in the front where you can kind of move your turret around. And of course, all of that aluminum. Very nice, very nice. Quite a popular bot, for good reason. Was very strong. Next we have Glowy from Lullers. Oh, and I custom painted mine, so mine is actually white and black here. But this essentially was Leller's attempt at making a brick bot. A bot that's like meant to be just a very strong meta bot. And you can see it's very strong. And the AIO is even recessed under the under those little plates there. You can see it's a little recessed inside the roof. This thing gave me a lot of trouble. This was a hard bot to beat. The AIO was just like so well protected, and not to mention it's small to begin with. It's very hard to disarm this. And if you're trying to just kill it outright, I mean, that's also incredibly challenging. And look at that Auto braking with the wheels. Very interesting. Ah, yes. Next, we have a totally not sus carrier from Red Eagle, which is totally not sus. There is nothing weird about this bot.
A powerful Robocraft has spawned for your team.
Don't ask why that sound just played. Don't worry about it. How are those interceptors flying? How is the flight so stable on this? Don't ask these questions. Okay? These are questions that don't need to be answered. All you need to know is carrier. Look at how awesome that is. All of my questions are answered. Even got that spinning center part. Oh, man. Very, very cool. I am a huge StarCraft fan. So this is right up my alley. I love how the interceptor movement actually looks like interceptor movement from StarCraft 1. Next, we have the Gallius Broadside from Awesome Sauce. Another pirate ship. Just look at this. Look at this. See if we can board it here up the boarding ramp. Look at this. And it even has a deck inside. You can get inside. And there's cannonballs. Oh, man. Oh, man. Could it be any cooler? Wait. Did I see some rum? Oh, yeah. There's even rum in here. And yes, it shoots broadside. Which you can, let's see, what is it? Shift. If you press shift, it changes it to, what is this, absolute controls rather than camera control. Now, A and D are turning rather than strafing, and W and S are forward relative to the direction of the bot, not my camera. Whereas if I press shift here, now the mouse is turning, A and D are strafe, and forward and back are relative to the camera. Okay, and after that, we have another one of Awesome Sauce's bots. This is Hydra. And if you're a fan of battle bots, this should need no introduction. It's a flipper. It's Hydra. We showed it off earlier, but there were a few bots actually, not just the what is it, battle bot like L57 or something like that. There's a few other battle bots like this one, which are recreations of bots from BattleBots or Robot Wars. Ah, yes. Next we have another of Awesome Sauce's horrifying creations, the Massive Hatred. So this thing... you can see there's a... let's see, how do I... There it is. If I hold shift, I can control this independently of myself. And there are arcs inside of this. So you can actually ambush people with this and like remotely attack them with this hovering thing. And because the hitboxes of the hovers are so massive, it's actually hard to disable it. Because you have to actually like kill the hover. And because it rotates and moves around so much, it's hard to hit the same hover twice. So this thing is actually kind of a threat. It looks like a joke, but it's really not. So, next we have the AIFV from Red Eagle. And this thing It, how do I explain this? So you see these red lines here? These are sensors. So this senses the distance between other objects or terrain. And using that and logic, Red was able to set up some automatic controls for this. You can see it driving around there and avoiding the terrain. This will drive around on its own. And I believe it shoots things too. See, it drove behind there. See if it makes it out here. It might get stuck back there. Sometimes it does get stuck. Or to get stuck. Oh, it made it all the way around! There it is! It made it through. Fine. I'll go look. Okay. Not sus at all. Okay, so next up, we have the Terminator from Bobish. This one was featured on my bot reviews. It's another awesome pincer. Probably the latest and greatest from Bobish's pincer line, as well as pincer bots, I think. I think this is where we ended up with the Terminator. And oh yeah, it terminates. But yeah, this is a piece of history right here. The last of its kind. Okay, after that, we have Fuse from Pickle Pickle. This thing was pretty fun. This was actually a hover chomper. Which was an archetype that wasn't really fully explored, but there were a couple of these. This was probably the main one. I think there was one other one. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of little jagged teeth in here. All these alternating jagged teeth, which look awesome, by the way. And because melee damage was based on your weight relative to your target's weight in Robocraft 2, this was not quite as effective as a lot of the other pincers and chompers and things. Just because it, it has to fly as a hover, so it has to be a little bit lighter. But hovers can carry quite a lot of weight still, so it was still pretty strong. It definitely saw a lot of use. Okay, next we have the Invader 3 laser from Dromgi. Now this one, as far as I know, Dromgi was not a well-known builder in the Robocraft 2 community, but this bot was used by quite a lot of people, mainly because it looks freaking cool. Look at how well designed this is. It just looks like a spaceship out of Star Wars or something. Like in, what is that, Attack of the Clones? When they're, that weird, like, chase scene where they're in the traffic and it's all the hover cars and everything. This looks like it would fit right in that scene right there, right? This would fit right in. Very cool. It wasn't actually completely min-maxed. I think there's actually CPU left on the table with this design. But still, very cool, very strong turret. It used all the right building techniques. I was a big fan of that. And after that, we have the tiny monster kitty from XBT. He's just a little guy. This again, is part of the baby bot craze that took over Robocraft for a little while. Everybody was making baby bots, and baby bots, they were very popular. Like people are saying in chat here, this was a good way to turn any lobby friendly. People would see this and it was just like, Oh my god, I can't shoot it. I don't have it in me. I don't have the heart to shoot this. Oh god. I love this thing. Next up is the GS1 questionable name from Deco. This is a... I don't even know how to describe this. It's like a... It's a tummy tickler. You know, if anybody's played Robocraft 2 before, you know what the tummy tickler is. I really should be looking at that. I don't think I own it, actually. But it's a bot from... Sorry, I'm just going to reassemble this real quick. So the tummy tickler is a bot from... I don't know how to say his name. Lijosu, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But he made a bot that uses pistons to extend an arm, which then has arcs on the end of it. And you can use that to get underneath somebody's bot and blow them up from the bottom. And usually people are pretty vulnerable on the bottom, so it's a very interesting archetype concept. So there were a number of bots that used this technique after that bot came into the meta, and this is one of them. So next, and I'm pretty much going to look at these both at once. So this is the Gravity 2 and Super Grav from Awesome Sauce. So let's first look at the Gravity 2 here. So Gravity we looked at previously. It had a crap ton of hinges, and some of them point towards the bottom and sort of propel this platform to the bottom. Some of them are towards the top. This is the second attempt from Awesome Sauce to try to make it slightly better. And yes, as Awesome Sauce is saying, I'm gonna forget the hotkeys here. Okay, so that's this. That's shift. Space lowers it, so if you want to get wedged under somebody. And then control is the super jump. That actually activates both of them. You can see that on the bottom one there. And then the super grav is sort of an experiment with the smaller hinges and just seeing how many of these you can stack together and what it does. And it's crazy. It literally breaks itself. There's so much force. Very impressive. Okay, so after that, we have Robo Santa. This is an art bot of myself. If you've seen Futurama, you know, it's Robo Santa from Futurama. Oh yeah. Look at that. Lots of fun. Ah yes, and after that, we have my own entry into the baby bot craze. Baby Bonk. Although this is the Christmas edition. I just put a little hat on him just for Christmas. And after that, in the same vein, we have the Christmator, which is just the Signator with a Christmas tree on top. We like to have fun here. After that, we have the Corsair Orca from Deco. It's like another pancake hover. A lot more enclosed design here, though. A little bit more compact, a little bit less pancakey, a little bit more spread out. And oh, we've got some anti-gravs here, too, so this actually isn't a hover. Never mind. This is not a hover at all. This is a pancake flyer. Oh, this is awesome. I totally forgot about this. Yeah, so it's like a hover, but it's not a hover. It actually uses anti-gravs. I wish the one in the back wasn't so exposed. That's okay. Yeah, I've got hover brain rot, you know? Anything that's flat and pancake shaped like this, I'm like, oh, that's a hover, right? But no, this is not a hover. Very cool. After that, we have the CHF Freshness from RGUK. And oh, it is a fresh bot. Look at this. Look at this. Does it matter which seat I'm in? I'm not sure it does. But yeah, you can have a passenger in here. And here's the coolest part. It's a transformer. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Amazing. And you can see those turning axles there, adjusting the thrusters. Incredible. Oh, and you can adjust your fly height too. You can see on the top there, those little indicators show you what the level for the passive flight is set to. I believe it goes from 1 to 10. Yeah. Very cool. So after that, we've got the Bull Ant from Techno Dono. And this is a very interesting bot here. This is kind of similar to the Tummy Tickler, and it came out around the same time. But this uses hovers to give you this sort of pseudo mouse control. As you can see here, I'm not using my keyboard to control my steering at all. It's just the mouse here. And you have some pretty good turning, which is interesting. And then, you know, you can actually turn too. And then of course it's are these passive? I believe it's passive in the front. And this is just arcs. Very cool. So the idea is that you just drive up under somebody with those little forks. But you don't need to actually flip them or anything. You just need to get under it. And after that we have the GS3, another questionable name from Deco. And this one actually is a hover. Yeah. So, okay, so this is actually, sorry, let me just reassemble it here. So this bot is actually, oh man, that motion is funny. Oh, it's alive. It's excited. So this thing, it's kind of like the Scorpio, but flying. You know, it uses the piston arms here in order to touch you. Like that. And then you've got the arcs on the end with a little bit of armor around them, so you can actually, like, hit people with it, and it doesn't just die as soon as it gets shot. Okay. So next, we have the High Tide from Spinnerack. And this is another pincer. But this pincer is a lot thicker, as you can see here. And this is more of a heavy tank design. You can see the arms are gigantic. But unlike some of the other pincers, this actually uses like a custom turret. And Bobish says the only one that can resist mine. Bobish being the main pincer bot creator. Very cool. Very impressive entry into the the pincer pantheon. Okay, so next, and we've switched to another map here, we've got the Tower Doctor from Abiamox. This was a very controversial bot, and you'll see why in a moment here. So the main game mode is Battle Arena, right? And 3 towers. You gotta capture the towers and then control them. But the new mechanic in Robocraft 2 is that there's a shield that can be activated when you're standing inside those yellow lines there, those black and yellow lines. You can see here right now the tower is not captured by anybody. If I capture the tower real quick.
Your team has captured the new
Okay. So if we've got the tower, you can see the shield is activated here. However, if I'm not on the floor, the shield is no longer active. So what this bot does is it manipulates the design of the defense mechanic here. So you grab the tower like so. Oh, if I can actually pull it off, that would be nice. See, everybody hated this thing, but it doesn't really work as reliably as people thought it did. Where's the arm? There it is. There it is. Okay, so now we've got it in position, and you can see there's these pistons extending down toward the bottom here. And these pistons actually activate the shield here because it needs to be a certain distance from the ground. It's toward the bottom here. And if I had positioned this correctly, the pistons would actually be lined up, so there's only like a little tiny corner of it poking out of the bottom here. You could even have it like totally inside the shield. Keep in mind, it's still vulnerable to like splash and things like that, so if you hit it with plasma, you can still break it. And once you break the piece that's activating the shield disappears and you can just shoot the bot. But yeah, you know, as you might imagine, this upset quite a lot of people. These lasers also will shoot the berries, so you don't even have to own the tower. You could actually just like attach it to the tower, shoot the berries with this, and then it'll activate the shield once you capture the tower. Anyway, it's an important piece of Robocraft 2 history. You know, it stirred up a lot of controversial opinions. All right, so after that, we got the Slon LLP 2024 SP from DEMA 11 2006. And you can see, it's a special Christmas edition. Like I said, we like to have fun here. So after that, we've got the Conqueror from Spinnerack. The Conqueror, let's see, how would we best describe this? This is really, it's kind of on the heavy side of a medium. But it's real tanky, you know, it's a plasma bot. Got a nice long barrel on here. Nice color scheme. Well constructed. Very, totally not sus turret construction. Very nice. It's a solid bot. A little bit of turret jank as a side effect from how the turret works, but the strength of the turret makes up for it, trust me. All right. So after that, we've got Trench from Spinnerack as well. Now this bot, it's a, what do we call this, a Giga Flipper? It's a flipper, as we can see here, but it's also got arcs. So this thing is sort of designed to be able to flip really heavy bots. Very cool. I enjoy the default color scheme that actually looks good. Hard to make that work. So after that, we've got Low Blow from Awesome Sauce. And this thing, oh man, look at how low it is. It is low to the ground. I'm pretty sure Awesome Sauce made this just as a challenge to see like how low profile of a bot he could make with a custom turret. And he got it pretty dang low. I mean, this is about as flat as you can get. It's a pancake tank, yeah. You can see he's even leaving the wheels exposed to the top because he would have to go up like an extra 2 plate layers to be able to cover those. And then that would raise the turret even further. Very interesting. I always love seeing these interesting like experiment bots where it's like, what happens if I just go really hard in this one direction? Very cool. Ah, and after that we've got Stratus from Spinnerack. This, I remember he made this because he was trying to make a hover with a custom turret that used like a traditional custom turret style, I believe. Because most custom turrets on hovers, they only use like one aiming hinge. They don't use the platformo rotato. You know, so this is kind of a rare, yeah, it's the rare turreted hover, as Awesome Sauce is saying here. And it's got a cool yellow and blue and white color scheme as well. Very cool. Ah, yes, and after that, the moment we've all been waiting for with bated breath. The ludicrous kitty from XBT. Monster Kitty was, you know, it was scary enough, I guess. But ludicrous kitty, oh, it is terrifying. Some people feel like this bot, you know, it might have ruined their gameplay experience a little bit. I don't know. It's debatable. You know, some people enjoy this. You know, personally, I had quite a lot of fun. Then again, I can perfectly understand why this would upset people. It's kind of hard to show it here because there's not a lot of space for me to get going at full momentum. But basically, once this starts going in a straight line, it goes really fast. And on, gosh, what was that map called? I can't even remember it now. The really long one, Iona Chaos. On Iona Chaos, this bot was insane. It seemed to magically move faster. Oh, and we just lost a leg here. But yeah, it's a very awesome bot. You know, it's basically the Monster Kitty, but much faster. Okay, after that, we have Guppy's Parrot from Guppy and Rage. Oop. There we are. Look at that. Look at that. And it actually has controls for lowering the nose. If you want to make it look like it's really flying, you can do that, as you can see. It's a lot of fun. Gotta love Guppy's art bots. Another fantastic addition. After that, we have the Extortionist from DEMA 11 2006. And I mean, you know, this is a fantastic bot here, like recreation of a car. You know, there's a lot of these. Killer Queen makes some of them. Apologies, I can't remember everybody who makes them. But there's quite a lot of recreations of cars. This is a BMW, right? This one, it's like really popular in Eastern Europe. Or, you know, it was, and now there's a lot of them driving around in Eastern Europe because of that. Oh, and it has a fast steer, too, if you want to drift. You can increase your rear steering. Very cool. And, of course, we got arcs on the front, so we can do arcy things. Ah, yes, and after that, we have some totally not suspicious cheese at all. Not sus at all. It's just your average, ordinary, everyday cheese. Well, ignore that, ignore that. You don't see that, okay? Nobody sees that. So here we have some totally not sus cheese. Totally normal cheese. Which I'm sure, you know, if I were to go try to take this cheese, nothing would happen to me. Let's see. Oh, what the heck? What happened? Oh my god! Okay. So after that, we've got the uppercut from Cybo Rob YC. Sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. This is one that I never saw anybody else use, really. I don't even think I saw the original author of this using it. But I used it because it looks freaking cool. It's not the best because I think it's the weight. It's just not heavy enough. Maybe, if I remember right, or it might just be the grab is like not quite optimized right with the logic. But it's definitely unique because just look at this flipper design. Using that hinge to move the front section with your wheels toward the ground, similar to how gravity works. And then the flipper in the front, it's actually got pistons that push out instead of hinges that push up, that rotate up. Very unique. I never saw much success with it, but I always had fun. Ah. Yes. Mwah. Yes. Oh, this is a fine treat. This is a real treat for you all. This is the Falcon from Bandan, the Missile Man. The man with the missile plan. Oh, I wasn't sure if I had this in my collection. I wasn't completely sure. And I was really worried that I might have not gotten this for my collection and I would have to pick it up and just sort of subtly put it in my collection and act like it was there all along. But no, I didn't have to do that. Of course, I already had this. Why did I even doubt myself? I mean, of course I have this bot. This is a treat. So this thing, it has missile launchers with arcs on the missiles. And let's see if I can remember the controls here. I think you prime it with one key and then you fire it with the next key. And I just can't remember what the keys are. I'm guessing they're left and right click. Let's find out. We're gonna try to hit this tower here, I guess. Okay, these are the lasers. So it has two lasers, just so that you have something to shoot, and they're auto fire too. Okay. That cues it, and it's going. I believe you just right click then. Yes, I think it's just a right click. Oh, and it looks like we did damage to them and they're angry now. So the idea of that is really that you fire those two missiles and then run away and reassemble and get your missiles back. Is it reliable? Not really. Is it fun? You bet your ass it is. Oh, it is fun. And yes, in case you're wondering, yeah, there's some clips of me getting killed by that. Yeah. It happened more than a few times. A great treat. Thanks again, Bandan, for making this. It was a lot of fun. So after that, we have the Muos, which, you know, I think I have to show Muo first. Okay, so, hang on. I'll just show it with this, because this is Muo right here. So this is Muo. I can't remember if I showed Muo off before because there's like hundreds of bots that we're going through here. So apologies if I already covered this, but this is Muo from Bamboozled Kiwi. Just this right here. This is Muo, okay? There's a full review of Muo on my channel if you want to know the, you know, the strengths and weaknesses of Muo. You know, it's a very competitive bot. I highly recommend you check it out. And then also go sub to Bamboozled Kiwi for making this awesome bot. However, this is the Muo army. This is from Awesome Sauce. So Awesome Sauce took the Muo concept and decided to add some things. And you can see they're moving. How did that happen? Yeah, as Bobish is saying, you know, you put Muo in your bot, you become invincible. Just Bobo things. Don't worry about it. So next, we've got the Green Leaf Beetle from Spinnerack. Another nice medium heavy-ish tank here from Spinnerack with a solid custom turret. Got some interesting paint job here. Very textured look to it. And the suspension is also quite interesting. Bobish says it's like a mini Conqueror. Yeah, I suppose it is. It's just a solid bot. I'm not sure what else I can really say about it. You know, it's a very solid bot. It's, you know, your standard medium with a custom turret, built well. Oh, this is another treat right here. So this is the crawler from Anubis. And I believe that he did a more final version of this, but I'm not sure if I have it. So we'll look at this one. So you can see this is another hybrid walker. It's a hybrid block walker. So you can see there's these blocks in the front and then the one wheel in the back, and the one wheel provides steering, right? And then the blocks provide your main movement. But then also on the other end of the blocks, or is it on the other end? Yes, it is, right? Yeah. So on the other end of the blocks here, you've got these teeth, interlocking teeth. And if you get caught in that, oh man, it's a lot of damage. And melee damage is based on the weight of your bot versus the weight of the bot you're hitting. So if you're a lot heavier than the bot you're hitting, you're going to do a lot of damage to them. And this thing is super freaking heavy. So when this thing's coming at you, you better run. It's not the most mobile and maneuverable, but you know, it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be able to charge a location and hold that location. Okay, after that, we have the HDV Beaver from Bobish. So this is using the HDV base that he's using for a bunch of his pincers. But this is not a pincer. It's just a solid bot with a custom turret. And you can see it's more on the medium side of medium. It's a lot more slim and lightweight. Gives it some mobility at the cost of tankiness. I believe it's got burst fire. And you can alternate to continuous fire. Which is something that a lot of players started adding to their bots as the meta developed further. And people realized how powerful the ability to use either continuous or burst fire based on the situation actually was. Very cool. Very nice. Okay, after that, we've got the ATAP Relevance from Spinnerack. Got a lot of Spinnerack heavy tanks in here and medium tanks in here. But this one, it's got legs. Look at that. And I just love how, like, cute the legs are. I just have to say, like, they're the perfect size. Look at this. It does look very crab-like. It's even got eyes. Look at that. Very cool. I love these custom walkers that people made. You know, just to mention this once again, in case I didn't earlier, these are not leg pieces. These are constructed from individual pieces. So this is a hinge or an axle that rotates this whole section on the bottom here, this whole section of legs here. And then these are hinges which rotate up and down with the leg here. You can see it moves that whole section there. It's kind of hard to get a view, but it moves that whole section of leg. And then it scuttles the leg up and down, and that's how you actually move. Very, very cool. Ah, yes. After that, we've got the Mini Mogus 2 from Grubbalubba Snub Snub. The Grubbalubbagus. Which is not sus at all inside. If you've played Robocraft 2 before and you're an experienced builder, you might be wondering how this is possible. Stop asking those questions. What are you doing? You dirty, dirty snitch. So let's see, this is the third innovation, correct? Because originally it was quite large, as we showed, and then it got a little bit smaller, and this is the, like, the micro version. But it actually goes quite fast. As you can see here, and it is maneuverable enough. I'm getting shot a little bit here, so I want to get away from there. But I've used this before in, you know, competitive games where people were actually playing seriously. And I did not badly at all, you know? I was able to get kills, I was able to capture points, you know? Always fun when you can manage to make a art bot that is a, you know, it's a bit of a meme, but it's also playable. Okay, so resuming our builder's tribute. Next up, we have the Tall Grass from Spinnerack. This is the version with 3 wheels. Something that was quite popular for a while because the number of wheels you have affects how much torque you have. Essentially, your bot has an engine, and then the torque from the engine is divided by the number of wheels you have. So the less wheels you have, you actually have better torque, and you're able to carry heavier bodies. So you can see here, you know, this is a big, thick, chunky boy, taking advantage of those 3 wheels. Very solid turret. Spinnerack was how do you say, an enthusiast with engineering interesting turret mounts. I can't really showcase it right here, but you can kind of see it there. If you played Robocraft 2, you should realize there's something up with this. But it is technically legal. Yeah, you can see it's very heavy. But a very cool bot. Okay. So after that, we have the starter APC. I know this says it's from Oxydoom, but this is actually the starter APC from FreeJam. I just never had it, and I always kind of thought it was interesting that they gave you a bot that has like an open pilot seat here. So, this is one of the starter bots that people used to start with. Eventually, this bot got deleted, I guess. So I never got it. Okay, and after that, we have the Eye in the Sky from Awesome Sauce. This is a totally serious bot, very competitive. As you can see, you know, it's a blimp. The rail satellite would be the proper name for the archetype, I believe. And as you can see, you know, it moves. It moves, kind of. But if we were to fire here, you can see the recoil. Kind of a problem. Lots of fun. A very totally serious bot from Awesome Sauce. Okay. So next we have the Bird of Prey 2.0. And this is a bit of an interesting bot because this is actually sort of a collaboration between Dash the Flash and Ketmall. Dash is saying this was mostly Ketmall, but they did work on it a bit together. There's a plasma and a laser version. You can see here it uses the passive hover system as the same as the Little Devil, which we talked about previously. But there's been a lot of other innovations, and it also looks way nicer. I mean, ooh. I believe this one might have a custom paint job. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I custom painted this or if this is the default. But oh man, does it look good. So, to share a little bit from Dash's side of things, Dash was saying that, to give a little history of the Air Flyer development, he was saying there was the Aplamato version 3, which was basically just chonkier with Arium plating interspersed in the armor. Interspersed. And then he's also saying that Air never actually hit the peak meta. You know, there were other developments that they could have done, but just never got around to it. Other than Bird of Prey 2, this is sort of the peak of Air meta. Probably the most advanced flyer that ever hit Robocraft 2. Dash was saying he was also experimenting with Potato, built off of very different design ideologies than the previous ones that used moving parts. And it should have been better if he was able to finish it, it looks like. And then the general order, he was saying he made the Machina, and then the version 2 of the Machina, the Aplamato, then version 3 of the Machina, then version 2 of Aplamato, then the beginning of his experimental Potato, then Aplamato version 3, and then Bird of Prey version 2, which is this one. So the Air Potato meta, it was highly advanced in Robocraft. Okay, so after that, we have the Koi from Starshock. So this is the Koi. The Koi, it sort of fits in the same category as the Huntsman and the Caliban and the Nightshade. This was another just very solid all-around bot. It doesn't really excel at any one thing in particular. It's just good at everything. It's just, you know, generally good. This bot also kind of took over for a while. There were a lot of new players who like this, a lot of veteran players who like this, just because it's a very solid bot. Big fan of this one. Had a lot of fun koi gaming. Okay, and after that, we have a little bit of an interesting project from myself. It's the Huntsmator. It looks like this is my second attempt here. So essentially, it's a combination between the Signator and the Huntsman. So I asked Rick Mary for his wheelbase and all the angles and like the distances between the wheels and everything like that. So it essentially uses the same steering profile as the Huntsman, which gives it some very nice maneuverability. You know, it turns on a dime. It's very easy to control. But at the same time, I also tried to make it heavy enough that it would be strong like the Signator. And you can see the body is all structured like the Signator. The barrel is like the Signator. So this is a fun little experiment. I tried a few different versions of it. I believe the most successful one was actually much lighter than this one. So it was a bit of a medium that leans toward a light bot. Okay. After that, we've got another tank from Spinnerack, the Hard Light. And this one, as you can see, similar to what I was just talking about with the Huntsmator, it's meant to be built well and tanky and maneuverable, but the materials used are light enough that it's still, like, mobile. It has a decent top speed, you know, or not top speed, it has decent acceleration. Oh, and it seems it has some turret jank too. And you gotta love the aluminum use here. Always fun to see that. Okay, what is this? Ah. So after that, we have the Harpoon from Taker. Yar har! Look at this. Look at this glorious piece of engineering here. Forbidden pirate technology. So it's a hover. That's a pirate ship. And it's like a ghost ship style. Oh man. This is probably one of the only uses of Worn Moderonium skin that actually looks good. I don't think I've seen very many others. I can probably count them on one hand. So props to Taker for actually making Worn Moderonium look good. And oh, does it look good. Yar har! So after that, we've got the Artemis from Deco. And this is a ton of fun. So you can see there is a passenger seat, but if you get in the driver's seat, you're inside a supercar. And oh, it drives fast. Look at this thing. Woo, speed racer. And I believe there should be some additional controls too. Oh! Oh, we're lightweight. We gotta reassemble. So, you can see that 0 on the back. I believe if I press Control, that changes to a 1. And now we have a little bit of passive anti-grav here, which is just enough to make it so that we can actually get airtime when we go over jumps. Just enough lift for that, which is a lot of fun. And I believe it may also have some fast steering ability. I'm not sure on that one. Oh my gosh. Is that Mousy? Yo, that's your car. Yeah, that was your car, Deco.
Yo, that's my car.
All right. So next, we have the Humvee Plasma from Faku SQ. Apologies if I'm not saying your name correctly. But it's a Humvee with a plasma. Just look at the amount of detail on this. So there were a number of Humvees and like, I mean just a ton of tank recreations and APC recreations. A lot of them. It was a really popular thing for people to do. I didn't have time to ever look at all of them because there were so many. And to be honest, it's not really my biggest thing. Like, I'm not like a huge like gun or tank enthusiast or anything like that. But I do think that they're cool. So, you know, I had to at least get 1 or 2 of these, you know, just to show them off. Because there were a lot of these. And they're all like very well done. There's a lot of effort put into them. And here we have the Kamas from Dima. A name which is totally not sus, and I'm not saying it a different way intentionally at all. No. Look at this. Look at this. Is there a way for me to control? No, I can't do it the other way. It's pretty self-explanatory, you know, it's another recreation bot. Nice flatbed.
Ace, when you'll build SC2's Terran Battle Cruiser.
Oh, I know. Dude, I showed you the Viking that I made in Robocraft 1, right? We could have actually made like a Viking that was like a transformer that walked in Robocraft 2. If I had the time, aka if they didn't cancel Robocraft 2, I would have done that. And yeah, I probably would have made a battle cruiser too. Okay, after that, we have the Remington from Koprov. A lot of you might know this car. A lot of you might have seen this before. It's a lot of fun. See if I can remember the controls for this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, this thing was a lot of fun. This was like probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite bot to bring out during funny games. Formula Dart games, this was just always a crowd favorite. I wish I could get better at bouncing it. And that's the other thing. This used to be a lot better at getting air. Like, you used to be able to really make it hop. Unfortunately, they changed the way wheels work. And then, wheels sort of have like a magnetism to the ground now. So it's kind of hard to like break the traction that they have. After that change, this was not able to get the same airtime it was previously able to. But it's still a lot of fun regardless. Alright, so after that, we've got the TARDIS. From Chowie Chowie. I would hum the Doctor Who theme right now, but I'm afraid of getting copyright striked. But as you can see, it's the TARDIS. I don't know what else I can see here. It's the TARDIS, it flies. Unfortunately, it does not travel through time, it only travels through space. Ah, yes. It's true. Yes, it does have a weapon. The weapon might not be obvious at first, but if I were to click here, you can see it has arcs inside. Lots of fun. This just brought such a smile to my face the first time I saw it. Okay, so next we have the BMW M4 G82L 2.6 from Killer Queen. So similar to the tank and APC recreations, you know, there's also a lot of sports car recreations. Again, you know, not super my thing, but I totally appreciate how awesome they are, so I want to be able to show off at least some of these. Killer Queen in particular has quite a few of these, if I remember right. Awesome sauce. I'm pretty sure the real car doesn't also have a gun. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, you know, being able to drive around like this. Okay. After that, we have the Bobnator from Bobbish. So Bobbish, who we've shown off many bots from previously here, you know, he's mostly known for his pincers, but he did eventually decide to make a box tank, as they are lovingly called in the Robocraft 2 community. So similar to the Signator and Bubba and a few others, you know, there's a certain archetype that's this box tank archetype, where it's just really heavy, really giant turret, huge shroud, is meant to be very tanky and very hard to take out. It was a lot of fun seeing Bob show his take on that. And then also, if you hold shift, you can actually automatically turret melee, and it does this little swervy janky motion. And you can actually use this to melee people. So if you were to shove the barrel into somebody and then press this, it would do collision damage every time it smacks them. Very powerful. Okay. After that, we've got the Slon M limited edition from Dima. What do I even say here? What a Chad tank right here. This thing, for some reason, I think it's like the height of it. It looks like it's straight out of Warhammer, except for the paint scheme, I guess, the color scheme. The paint job doesn't really look like Warhammer. But the body shape, oh. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. As you can see, I really like a lot of the Slons from Dima. I'm a big thick tank enthusiast. We used to do thick tank Thursdays on here all the time. Okay. After that, let's see. I mean, briefly, I can just talk about this. It's the Klapsmator. It's an experiment of mine. So this, it's actually the Huntsmator base, and then I tried to make it into a clapper with an AIO. You can see there's these little arms on the side here. If I press shift, it breaks itself, but it does launch these arms out. This was just a prototype. Not really much to say here. And last but certainly not least, we have the Race Proto Dart from Awesome Sauce. His crowning achievement in dart racing technology. It's got everything. It's got the lasers to give you a boost. It's got the movable steering to give you terrain climbing mode, off-roading mode, and race mode, I guess. So if I press control, it actually changes between the two systems here. So you can see this is where it's flat. Then if I press control, this is like an off-roading mode. You can handle terrain a little bit better. And then let's see what else. We've got faster rear steering with shift. And I believe... No, wait. Is shift the camera steer? Shift is camera steer, isn't it? Or is that right click?
At first I thought after a
I think it's
buffet
right click.
I should build...
Yes, yes. So if I right click, it activates some internal jank steering that allows you to camera steer, even though there's no actual camera steer implemented in the game. And then shift increases the turning angle. So you can see here, if I'm turning left, the rear wheels aren't turning, but then if I hold shift, they are. Okay, well, what else do we got here? I'm sure there are more bots that I'm forgetting here, and I'm sure I'm probably going to be amending this list with some of the ones that I forgot here. But I believe that's all for now. I don't have space. I want the Overlord. Give me the Overlord. I need to spawn more Overlords. You don't understand. This is a need. Okay. So here we have the sauce head from Awesome Sauce. And you can see it's got quite the head to it. This is a very interesting experimental system for setting up a turret mount here. I believe this center part, yeah, it all rotates. And then there's that big empty section in the center here. So if you're trying to de-gun it, if you're hitting it from this angle, you're probably going to do pretty well. But if you're hitting it from this angle, it might actually be a little bit harder because you actually have to hit these specific strips right here. And oh yeah, it's a big, thick, chunky boy. Yeah, it is quite a lot of barrel, yes. That's the other thing. The barrel is pretty chunky. You know, it's relatively on the thick side. Okay, sorry, let me just do this all again. So here we have another dart from Grublub the Grubbalubagus. You can see it's a little bit more lightweight than some of the other darts. It's a little bit light, you know, it's been on a slight diet. Just a little bit. It's also got guns, which is fun. And I believe, oh, sorry. And I believe there is different braking here. So if I press control, this is brakes for everything. And if I press space, this should be just the rear brakes. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So here we have another dart, this time from Bobish. And you can see it's got this awesome flag on here with a little bendy flexible antenna mount. Flagpole. Let's see, help me out, Bobish. Does it have special features? I can see there's some suspension here. I can see it's got lights. Oh, it's got turning signals. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, it has a differential handbrake. Oh, I can feel that. Hang on, I gotta get some speed to show that off. So if I brake and turn, oh, whoa. That is interesting. Yeah, wow. And if you feather it, you can make U-turns in like nothing. Like no space at all. You don't even lose that much speed. That's very cool. Oh my god. Oh my god. Awesome sauce. Why are we only just now thinking of this? Okay, guys? I feel like we missed a really great opportunity here. Why are we only thinking of this just now? truck nuts on a dart? But why did nobody ever do this? we have like every other goddamn streamer comes to Robocraft and immediately makes a penis car. But none of us who play the game every day thought to put truck nuts on a dart. None of us thought of this. I don't believe it. We're slipping. So here we have the Subordinator, and here we have the Subordinator replica from Keygard. So the Subordinator is the powerful Robocraft. If you never played Robocraft 2, there was a mechanic where when your team was losing, you would get a powerful Robocraft which would spawn on that little plate back there. And it's a two-person vehicle that's incredibly powerful, hence the name. You can see there's a laser gunner and a laser driver turret, and then if you're the gunner, you have the plasma, which of course is a lot of fun. But you know, what if you don't want to wait? What if you just want the Subordinator all to yourself? Well, then you got this. Although it is mostly an Artbot replica, there's no actual guns here. It's very cool. You can just see like how close this is. It's pretty close. I think he actually ran out of CPU to make it identical. And it disappeared because I wasn't inside it for long enough. But yes, you can see it's very close to the original. What am I looking at? What is this? What new devilry is this? Oh my fucking god, what? It's daytime. The sky is different. There's fog. What? Oh my god.
Man the defense towers to spawn the turrets.
What the fuck? Do I even want to know?
Your payload is abandoned.
Oh my god.
Our reactor is exposed. Our reactor is exposed.
Oh.
Our reactor is exposed. Our reactor is exposed.
Your payload is abandoned.
Oh my god.
Our reactor is exposed.
I have no words.
Your payload is abandoned.
What is that even saying? It sounds like it's saying your payload is a bandage.
Payload is abandoned. Your payload is abandoned.
And what the fuck? Is this like just an artifact of the sus? It probably kills me if I touch it too. Oop. No? Doesn't kill me? Okay. Also, hang on. Hang on. This, yeah, this is not the same turret either. You see this? This is definitely not the same turret. Right? I don't think this one is either. Oh, no, definitely not. That feels more like Robocraft 1 plasma volley. Just redonkulous damage. Can we obliterate a Gary with it? Hey, hey, quit shooting me. Yes, I believe so. I mean, you showed me a lot of those. I remember seeing, like, lasers filling the whole test area and, like, absurd amounts of railguns. I've seen a lot of those in, Oh, the sky stays. Oh, cool. So you're using world editor blocks to force it to load a different skybox? And a bunch of other shit? I'm guessing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy because it's like, how is a bot making that happen? You know what I mean? Like, how is the bot that you choose making that happen? But once you realize, like, the way world editor works and, like, the blocks are actually changing, you know, like, then it makes sense. It's still kind of weird. Stinger has been a hackbot all this time.